We're going to go ahead and start. It is now 7:16. Can I have roll call, please, Madam Clerk?
Alderman Felix. Present. Alderman Newsome.
Present.
Alderman Turner.
Present. Present.
Alderman Donnerworth.
Present.
Alderman Florian.
Present.
Alderman Hayes.
Present.
Alderman Bolton.
Present.
Alderman Guzman.
Present.
Alderman Martinez.
Present.
Mayor Taylor.
Present.
You have a quorum, ma'am.
Thank you. At this point, or time, can I have the invocation by Father Rich Fortantes from the Christ Episcopal Church here in Waukegan? If you could please come up. Thank you.
Hi there. Good evening, everybody. Sound okay?
Yes.
All right. Rich Francis, Father Rich, in some context from the Episcopal Church right up on the corner, Grand and Martin Luther King Jr. Ave. Holy and gracious one, source of wisdom and compassion. We gather tonight as a community entrusted with the well-being of our neighbors, our city, and our shared future. Bless our mayor, bless our city staff, bless our workers and other people. Bless this assembly with open hearts and minds that our dialogue may be marked by respect, our decisions by wisdom, and our service by deep care for one another. Grant us patience with ourselves and with others, so that in moments of disagreement we may still seek understanding, and in the face of challenge we may hold fast to hope. Strengthen us to pursue justice with humility, to foster unity without fear, and to work together in optimism for the common good. May we be ever mindful of those who are vulnerable, ever attentive to the needs of all, and ever committed to a future where all may flourish. In your holy name and in the spirit of peace. Amen.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America.
At this time, I'd like to recognize that Alderman Donnerworth is on speaker this evening, so all our votes will be taken by roll call, no voice votes at all tonight.
And Mayor, if I could just, does anyone object to Alderman Donnerworth's participation virtually?
No. Okay. Well, happy St. Patrick's Day. It's very seldom that we actually have St. Patrick's Day on a council meeting, so again, happy St. Patrick's Day. I want to start off the meeting by first acknowledging our condolences to the family of William Durkin, who served as the Waukegan City Clerk for 3 terms from 1981 through 1993, and as our Waukegan Mayor for 2 terms from 1993 to 2001. There will be visitation tomorrow at St. Anastasia's Church at 624 Douglas Avenue at 10 a.m., followed by a funeral mass at 11 a.m. at the church. I also want to thank Alderman Hayes for filling in for me at the last City Council meeting. Thank you so much. It was a last-minute decision that I'd been sick all day, and well, actually all weekend, so thank you. We'll go ahead and start from hearing from some of our department heads. Chief Navarro.
Hello, Mayor and City Council. Thank you, residents of Waukegan. I'm going to speak on a little of some of our stats related to the last quarter. So from November of 2024 through February of 2025, and I'm also going to compare that from November of 2023 to February of 2024, so during this time period last year. The City of Waukegan currently, or during that quarter, had 119 batteries that occurred. In that time period in 2023, there was 158. We had 150 burglaries during the last quarter. During that same time period in 2023, we had 259. When it came to property damage crashes in 2024, last quarter, there were 699 Same period in 2023 into 2024, there was 695. With crashes with injuries, we had this in 2024 into 2025, there was 145. In November of 2023 through February of 2024, there was 289. Domestic violence. During the 2025 quarter, we had 755. The 2024 quarter, we had 1,028. When it comes to home invasions, we had in the last quarter 3 home invasions, and during last year, we had 2. Homicides in this last quarter, we had 2 murders. Last year, during the same time period, we had 1. Overdoses, we had 26 during this last quarter. Last year, in 2023 into 2024, we had 19. Armed robberies, we had 6 this last quarter, and last year we had 18. Sex assaults, this last quarter we had 22, and last year we had 45 during the same time period. Shots fired, so discharging of a firearm, we had 115 in this last quarter. Last year we had 145. And thefts, we had 248. We had a decrease from the quarter in 23 into 24 when we had 227. So I'm going to also have Deputy Chief Scott Chastain talk about our the last 2 incidences that we had involving violent crime. Thank you.
So over the weekend, we had a couple incidents of shots fired. We actually had 1 person struck in those incidents. In the 1000 block of Sunset Terrace, we had a 17-year-old that was shot in the ankle. It was a through-and-through shot. A vehicle had rolled up, and they were throwing gang signs up at the young man. So the young man decided, based on his own admission, he would throw gang signs back at him. And once he did that, then the passenger in that vehicle started shooting out the window and shot him in the ankle. Thankfully, it was through and through, it wasn't life-threatening, and we were able to get him treatment. Based on that investigation, we do have some solid leads that we are working through our gang intelligence and our drug unit, which is a community crimes division. So they are actively out working this case. They actually developed some leads as of today. We hope to get this thing resolved shortly. One of the things that when our patrol officers went out there, they ran into a lot of resistance from the young man who had been shot, which is common sometimes when we have members that are affiliated. They don't really want to talk to us, so it makes it difficult. But the officers persisted, went out and did canvasses, found a lot of good evidence that we can use. So through the diligence of the patrol division, I think they really did come up with some great stuff that helps our detectives do the follow-up. The second incident was in the 1600 block of 11th Street. In this incident, we don't have a whole lot. The people that were the target of the incident claimed they were inside the house. We have nothing to dispel that. But what we can say is we did locate some video. A vehicle rolling up, stopping, then they blacked out their lights, and then they rolled in front of this residence and then shot 29 rounds of .223, which is a caliber consistent with a semi-automatic. You can either have a rifle or it could be, if they don't have the buttstock on, it's considered a pistol. But either way, it's of an assault caliber round. It's a rifle round. So 29 rounds, we located 29 shell casings. That house and the house next to it were struck. Thankfully, nobody was hurt in either house. We can say that the target of the house, the person inside the house, has a questionable history with the police department. So we believe that was the intended resident, the one that took the majority of it. And again, our community crimes division is following up on that. And as we were sitting out in the hallway today, they sent me some information that they had some good solid leads. So we're hoping that we can wrap both of these investigations up shortly. Again, our patrol division was out there, did a phenomenal job canvassing, talking to witnesses, gathering statements. And, that's crucial for us when the community comes forward and talks to our officers out on the street and gives them a lot of great information. We also have our tip app out. We always get information that flows back into that, which then detectives can follow up on and get some good results for these cases. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, I want to acknowledge that we still do use flock cameras to solve a lot of our crimes in the city. Chief Pazer. Since you missed him last week, we're going to let him talk briefly tonight, but he was skipped over last week, so we want to make it up for him.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor and council members and Chief Navarro for allowing me to share time with you this evening. We're going to talk about an issue that is often overlooked but can have devastating consequences, which is the danger of fires in hoarder houses. Hoarding is a condition that affects many individuals, and while it's easy to feel empathy for those who struggle with it, we must also recognize the significant safety risks that come along with living in an environment filled with clutter and debris. Among the most serious of these risks is the potential for fire. This is the exact situation that the Waukegan Fire Department was faced with in the early hours of Friday morning, and the consequences were fatal to the homeowner. First, let's consider the physical structure of a hoarder house. These homes, often filled with piles of paper, clothing, old furniture, and other items, are overcrowded with combustible materials. The more items that are there, the more fuel the fire has to burn. This makes hoarder homes incredibly vulnerable to fire outbreaks, even from something as small as a spark or an unattended candle. The total volume of items can also obstruct escape routes, making it harder for residents to evacuate in the event of a fire. Hallways, doorways, and staircases can be blocked, turning what would normally be an accessible escape route into a life-threatening barrier. Firefighters, too, can find it incredibly difficult to navigate through these cluttered spaces, which slows down their response time and puts both them and the occupants at greater risk. Another danger lies in the presence of old, malfunctioning electrical systems or appliances, which are often found in hoarder homes. Overloaded outlets, frayed wires, and exposed cords are all common in these environments and can easily spark a fire. Add to that the fact that many of these homes may not have been properly maintained for many years, and the risk of an electrical fire goes way up. So what can we do to prevent these risks? The first step is awareness. We need to recognize that hoarding is not just a matter of personal preference, but a serious safety issue. If you know someone who may be living in a hoarded environment, it's important to approach them with empathy and support, encourage them to seek professional help for both the hoarding behavior and the safety risks associated with it. In the event of a fire, the best course of action is always prevention. Ensuring that electrical systems are up to code, removing excessive clutter, and maintaining clear paths for escape can make all the difference. Fire safety should never be an afterthought, and it is critical that we all understand the unique dangers posed by hoarding in relation to fire safety. In closing, I urge all of us to be aware about the dangers of fire in a hoarder house. The combination of combustible materials, blocked escape routes, and faulty electrical systems can create the perfect storm, making these homes highly vulnerable to fire. With awareness, support, and proper intervention, we can help reduce these risks and protect individuals, families, and communities from the devastating effects of a fire in a hoarder house. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Next, I'd like Director Perfect to come up from dispatch.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. I'd like to talk about an incident that occurred the other day on Tuesday, March 11th at approximately 10:20 a.m. The Waukegan 911 Center lost our connection to our 911 phone system as well as our computer automated dispatch system. It was determined that it was a county-wide system error that happened. The difference being is the rest of the county agencies were only affected for a couple of minutes or less. The Waukegan 911 Center was down for almost 2 hours. When this occurred, the senior telecommunicator working at the time immediately contacted our IT department, the AT&T Resolution Center, who handles the 911 calls for the country, to have our 911 calls routed to our backup center, which is Gurnee Police Department, and they also made contact to me immediately. Our IT department immediately started to look into the issue and quickly determined that it was not an issue on the Waukegan side of the operation, but guessed it had something to do with some type of upgrade on the system on the Lake County side, which caused the issue to occur. During this time, it is possible that residents calling 911 were met with a message that stated the number is no longer in service. We do not believe that any 911 calls did not go through, although some of the non-emergency calls definitely did not go through. We had no non-emergency numbers for 2 hours. Waukegan's 911 center is the only dispatch center connected to the county that does not have a failover or a redundant connection. So if it's lost, it will automatically switch over for other towns. We do not have this, and this was all set up prior to my joining in the city and prior to our current IT director who came back to the city. So we do not know what the thought process or why this occurred during this setup happened, and we don't have the people here to talk to about it. Director Gardella and his staff have engaged with Lake County to get some sort of backup in place to at least get us partially up and running in the event that this occurs again. A possible solution has been discovered, but is not an immediate failover and does not solve the problem of losing our phone system. It is not ideal to lose any connections of any of our systems, but unfortunately, due to agreements made, we are at the county's mercy for our main emergency service infrastructure. I have taken steps towards cutting these unstable and frankly unsafe connections with Lake County as much as possible, and moving forward in our new 911 center, we will be implementing a new 911 phone system that has no connection to the county in any way and provides multiple sources of redundancy and backup in the event of a connection failure. At this point, our only connection to the Lake County systems will be our CAD system, which a year after its go live is still having major issues, and a lot of our promised features are still not up and running with no real implementation dates for these features that also affect our police and fire department. I want to ensure at no point do we have any reason to believe a 911 call was not answered. I would also like to emphasize to anyone in the event that you call our non-emergency number for police or fire services and you get a message of disconnect or no answer, to immediately please call 911, because that call is always guaranteed to be answered. If 911 does not answer in Waukegan, it is set up throughout the nation to fail over to another 911 center. Our current center is Gurnee. That'll be going away when LakeCom goes into effect, but we do have backups to answer 911s. That's all I have, and thank you for allowing me to speak tonight.
Thank you. Nicole Ravi from Waukegan Animal Control.
Good evening, everyone. I'll keep mine pretty short, just to give some stats for February. We had 43 animals come in, 15 cats, 28 dogs. We had 43 animals leave to rescue. We had only 12 animals return to owners, 2 euthanasias for 2 injured cats. We did a total calls of 153 and 2 bites. I did want to stress to citizens that if you are in the position that you do need to give up an animal, to please call our office in advance so that we can make sure that we have the proper space and the resources to help you. So please do not wait till the last minute and to call us in advance so that we can make sure we can help you the best way possible. And that's all I have for today. Thank you.
Oh, Nicole, can you give the number to call? Did you give it? We didn't hear it.
Yes, the number is 847-599-2690.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And last, I'm going to have Jesus from our engineering department come up.
I do have a presentation. Can you put it up? Okay. Good evening, Mayor Taylor and City Council members. I am here today to provide you with an update about the city's lead service line replacement program. Buenas noches, Alcaldesa Taylor y concejales. Hoy les informo sobre el programa de reemplazo de líneas de servicio de plomo de la ciudad. Next slide, please. In this screen, you see the capital construction leadership. Esta slide enseña el liderazgo de los proyectos de construcción capital de la ciudad. Next slide, please. In this slide, you'll see the city's lead service line replacement staff, comprised of my staff and also our consultant. El personal que está en esta slide es el staff que reemplaza la línea de servicio de plomo de la ciudad. Next slide, please. Our ongoing project is funded by the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency. It is located in the first and second wards. We're on track to replace 411 services. We have currently completed 155, and we're currently working our way up to the sixth ward. El proyecto que está viendo en la televisión está en marcha y está financiado por la Agencia de Protección Ambiental de Illinois en los primeros y segundos distritos. Estamos en camino a reemplazar los servicios de 411 casas y ya completamos 155. Next slide, please. Our current contractor for this project is 5-Star Energy Services. The people that are shown in this slide and the next are the persons who you will expect come to your home, in addition to my staff and the leadership staff. El contratista que tenemos ahorita para este proyecto se llama 5-Star Energy Services. Ellos son los que se van a presentar en sus casas y también personas de la ciudad que vienen siendo de mi departamento o del liderazgo. Next slide, please. Currently, we have another IEPA project out for bid, as we are slated to receive a forgivable loan from the state of Illinois for $3 million, which will replace 300 lead service lines. Actualmente tenemos otro proyecto con el IEPA en concurso, ya que estamos programados para recibir un préstamo condonable del estado de Illinois por $3 millones que va a reemplazar 300 líneas de servicio. Next slide. Our upcoming project is another upcoming project. It's the Lewis Avenue lead service line replacement between Glen Flora and Grant Avenue. This funding is coming from the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, also known as DCEO or DECO. This grant is 80-20% for $900,000, and we're looking for a 19% of business enterprise participation. I'll explain a little bit about that in the next, right now. So the BEP program is meant for businesses owned by minorities, women, and persons with disabilities. This program is committed to foster an inclusive, equitable, and competitive business environment that will support underrepresented businesses, increase their capacity, grow revenue, and enhance credentials. Nuestro siguiente proyecto va a ser a largo de la Avenida Luis, entre las avenidas Glen Flora y Grant. Aproximadamente 62 líneas vamos a reemplazar con un costo de $900,000. El programa tiene una participación de 19% que se llama Programa de Empresas Comerciales. Este programa es dirigido a empresas propiedad de minorías, mujeres y personas con discapacidades. El programa compromete a fomentar un entorno empresarial inclusivo, equitativo y competitivo que ayude a las empresas subrepresentadas a aumentar su capacidad, incrementar sus ingresos y mejorar sus credenciales. Next slide, please. Here are our web links, waukegansurvey.com, also our hub, where you can find more information. Aquí están nuestros enlaces web, donde pueden encontrar más información acerca del programa de líneas de plomos de la ciudad. Next slide, please. And I want to just remind you that engineers and workers are not ICE agents. The persons involved in these projects can be identified by their badge and are instructed to have it visible and readily available. Los ingenieros y trabajadores de estos proyectos no son agentes de ICE. Nuestras personas que participan en estos proyectos pueden ser identificadas por su placa y se les indica que la tengan visible y a mano. We also have services available in English, Spanish, Mandarin, and Arabic to better serve our community. Tenemos servicios disponibles en inglés, español, mandarín y árabe para mejor servir a la comunidad. And if you have any questions regarding this program, please feel free to call my office, 847-360-9717. Cualquier pregunta acerca del programa de líneas de repaso de plomo, por favor, habla a mi oficina, 847-360-9717. Thank you.
Can you stay there for just a minute?
Yes.
I want to first off talk about, we had an open house this weekend for lead service line replacement that was very successful. On Saturday, we had it from, I think, 10 to 5.
Yes.
And we had well over 500 people come, which was super exciting, and that they learned all about the lead service lines and exactly what it is we're doing. But can you explain to them, we're replacing from the road to the B-box. Can you explain?
Yes. So I'll make it quick.
English and Spanish.
I'm sorry, in Spanish too. So I'll make it quick. So the main goal is to replace your lead service line. That is the lead service line that comes from the meter all the way to the main. It also includes a curb stop, also known as a B-box. Typically, the homeowner is responsible for replacing their line from the B-box to their meter. However, during this administration, we have made efforts to have the work done completed by IEPA funds and some other city funds, so the city is replacing the whole service line. El programa de reemplazo de plomo viene siendo que vamos a reemplazar la línea de plomo que va del metro hasta la main de agua que está en la calle. Típicamente los residentes son responsables de la válvula al metro. En este caso, con esta administración, tenemos el orgullo de presentarles con el proyecto que vamos a reemplazar todo. Los gastos van a ser cubridos por la ciudad.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Engineer, maybe you ought to explain to somebody what a B-box is.
A B-box, it's the valve that's at the sidewalk, and that's where, if you don't pay your city water, that's where we'll shut it off.
Most important thing you need to know.
Yes.
Again, these lines cost between $12,000 and $14,000 per household to replace, and we've been doing it with grants and funding so that the residents do not have to pay that. Many of our residents, that's just too big of a bill, so we've been doing this through funding, and if you have more questions, you can go to www.gettheleadout.com/Waukegan.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to remind everybody that city stickers are, the renewal is, they expire on April 30th. You can avoid the rush by purchasing yours now through the early bird discount, which ends at the end of this month. Stickers are available at City Hall during business hours, Monday through Friday, from 8 to 5 p.m., or online through our city portal. Senior discounts are available when eligible for eligible residents, and there's certain currency exchanges that are selling them also, but they cannot process discounts. So if you're a veteran or have physical disabilities or a senior citizen, they will not do a discount. But the places that are offering it, the currency exchanges are CFSC, Checks Cashed, Washington-Lewis Currency Exchange and Auto License at 1817 Washington Street, CFSC Checks Cashed, New Grand and Green Bay Currency Exchange and Auto License at 3200 West Grand Avenue, and CFSC Currency Exchange Belvedere, Green Bay, Check Cashing and Auto License at 2856 Belvedere Road. New Washington Sheridan Latino Currency Exchange at 126 Washington Street. Latinos Multi-Service, Inc., 1304 Washington Street. For more information on more currency exchanges or exactly what those locations are, please call us at 847-599-2627. And that's, obviously, you're not going to remember all that, so if you have questions, call us. I want to remind everybody that next week is spring break for our kids, starting this weekend and going through the following weekend. Please, please slow down when driving through our neighborhoods. The weather is warming up. Our kids are going to be outside playing. These are our children, and please drive slowly through the neighborhoods. Early voting started today. Municipal and school board elections are on April 1st. These are important elections, and it's time for you to take a vote. As a reminder, business owners with liquor licenses, we start the renewal process on April 1st. And Waukegan Public Works and each of the 9 aldermen will be hosting neighborhood collections that provide free disposal of bulk items, electronics, tires off of their rims in celebration of Earth Week, April 20th through 26th. So it'll start on the Monday. Each one of them is from 8 to 3. It'll start on the Monday. It'll be Ward 1 and 2. We have flyers in the back that you can see. Tuesday will be 3 and 4. Wednesday is 5 and 6. Thursday is 7 and 8. And Friday is Ward 9. Just because it's in a different ward doesn't mean that you can't go to any of them with things that need to be disposed of. And it's usually household items and that kind of thing. We don't take paint, landscaping items, those things. But if you look in the back, There will be sheets in the back, and it'll tell you what you can and cannot bring to those. At this time, I'm going to turn things over to corporate counsel. Many of you heard about the push tax and the legislation that happened last week, and he's going to give you an update on that.
Good evening, everyone. 5 years ago, the city adopted an ordinance that imposed a 1-cent tax on every play of a video gaming terminal. There are hundreds of these terminals in Waukegan, and they're at I believe, over 60 different locations. And the city council at that time decided to impose what it determined to be a reasonable tax on plays, 1 penny per play, to fund the city's unfunded and desperately needing funding pensions, specifically for police and fire. This is one of the largest liabilities that the city has, and it grows year after year. The city puts millions and millions of dollars into it, and the more that obligation grows, the less money there is for roads, the less money there is for sewers, and the less money there is for public safety today. This tax, once imposed, was immediately challenged by the terminal operators, by the very companies that have been profiting off of the operations of these machines, and quite honestly, profiting off of the gambling that is done by people in Waukegan. And this litigation has drug on. The operators, specifically their trade association, have taken this up and down to court a number of times. 2 Tuesdays ago, we finally got a definitive opinion from an Illinois appellate court that affirmed that not only did we have the ability and the authority, full authority, to impose this tax, that it was the terminal operator's responsibility to collect it. I want to emphasize something here. When we are collecting this tax, it is the responsibility of the people who run these machines. It's not the responsibility of the bar owners themselves. The city is not going after any single bar owner that has one of these. We understand the burdens that are currently imposed by taxes in Illinois and how difficult it is for establishments to stay afloat. We're not going after them. We're going after these terminal operators who make millions and millions and millions of dollars off of Waukegan residents every year. The court affirmed our authority to impose this tax and said it's the terminal operator's job to figure out how to collect it. That's very good news. And my colleague, Marcus Martinez, who's here today, has been working to ensure that these operators pay this tax. We've been taking them through local adjudication, and when they're found liable, well, they challenge that, and they take it over to court. And they use the courts as a means of delaying paying the taxes that they owe to the city and its residents. The mayor and the city council have been clear that we are going to pursue these operators until they pay the tax that they were supposed to. A number was in the paper that said $11 million, that the city was going to get $11 million. That's how much should have been paid since this tax was imposed in 2020. That's how much we believe that we are due. Our ability to get that amount is in question. We are going to pursue as many years as the court lets us. We're going back currently through 2023 and all of 2024, and we're going to continue to pursue this. I can't guarantee that we're going to get the full $11 million, but in the end, what we want is these operators to pay what they owe. And if they can't, if they are unwilling to do so, they're welcome to stop doing business in Waukegan. They're also welcome to stop doing business in Illinois, because if we pull their licenses here, their statewide licenses are in danger. And you know what? Fine. The fact is that there are terminal operators who are willing to do business, who are willing to pay the taxes that are due, and are willing to do business the right way. They are welcome in Waukegan. That's it.
Thank you, Stu.
Are there any questions?
Okay, so now that the court's found that it is, we were in our legal standard, okay, could we start putting basic penalties for not paying? So that 1% now, if you don't pay, now we're charging you a late charge, and so on and so forth, and then plus legal fees that were acquired because of this challenge? Can the city go back and recoup those fees?
We will look into both of those aspects. And Marcus, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know, is there a specific penalty in the push tax ordinance for non-payment above and beyond?
Off the top of my head, I don't believe so.
I don't think.
Just the taxes. There might be something to it that I can get back to you.
Yeah, we will look at it specifically if there's any interest charges. And then pursuing attorney's fees, unfortunately, most courts frown on that unless the statute actually gives you the authority to do that. But what I can say is that we're going to be pursuing this as aggressively as we possibly can, because they have been in the wrong. They've been in the wrong for 5 years, and it's time for them to pay what they owe.
I totally agree, and this residents of the city of Waukegan deserves their money, and it should be moved forward.
Okay, that's all the comments I have, Madam Clerk. On to resolutions, proclamations, presentations.
Absolutely. Thank you, ma'am. I'm not sure if we have anybody here from the Arbor Day people?
We're not reading that one out loud. That was sent by email.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. And proclamation, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. Do we have somebody here to?
Yes, we have Carrie Wings
All right.
and Lyndon.
Let me read it. Proclamation, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month in Waukegan. Whereas the Lake County Children's Advocacy Center was officially established in 1987 as a location where children are brought for forensic interviews when there has been an allegation of abuse. And whereas the Lake County Children's Advocacy Center's #1 goal is to ensure that all children receive consistent evidence-based forensic interviews and receive services that help children heal from the abuse they have suffered, and the Lake County Children Advocacy Center has helped thousands of children thanks to outstanding ongoing leadership of several individuals since their inception. And whereas the Lake County Children's Advocacy Center works in collaboration with other Lake County partners to raise awareness about child abuse and advocate for the safety and well-being of children in our community through their annual campaign, Blue Kids Lake County. And whereas the Blue Kids Lake County campaign creates awareness and encourages local businesses, schools, and community to have conversations about child abuse in Lake County by engaging people to speak up and create public awareness as an integral approach to preventing child abuse. And whereas the Blue Kids Lake County program aims to engage youth by promoting peer-to-peer dialogue and empowering children to start a conversation. And whereas the Lake County Children's Advocacy Center has been helping the children of Waukegan and Lake County by providing much-needed support and resources for over 30 years. And now therefore be it resolved that Mayor Ann B. Taylor and members of the City Council of Waukegan, Illinois, do hereby proclaim that April is Child Abuse Prevention Month in the city of Waukegan as part of the Lake County Children's Advocacy Center's Blue Kids Lake County campaign. And we encourage education and participation by advocating to all that children deserve a chance at a safe childhood. Adopted the 17th day of March, 2025.
Just, if you've never been there, you need to take a tour of it. And
certainly. You know, our Blue Kids campaign has been around since 2011. We rebranded it in about 2015. It really is to bring education resources and material to the community, start discussions with the children in your community, the children in the neighborhood, the children that you interact with, provide a safe environment for them, or bring an outlet to them if you know something is taking place, and then definitely providing resources to them and kind of letting the child. He is an added perk. But thank you so much for having us come. I know you guys have a busy schedule, so I appreciate your time. And I appreciate you guys bringing Blue Kids into Lake County. Yes, sorry. So I put some pinwheels outside. If anybody wishes to take them, please do so. It just kind of is the symbol of Blue Kids. This is the symbol for it. And then attached, we have a little card that's a QR code that brings you to our website that has more material about Blue Kids, how to get involved, and resources and just material. I know, he's very nosy, so then that's probably why.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, one more. On 3, say Linden. 1, 2, 3, Linden.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we're on to audience time.
Yes, we are. All right, let me get the timer. We have audience time. You'll have 3 minutes in order to say what you would like. I'm going to say the first 5 people. Please go to the east side of the room so that you can be ready for your time. State your name loud and clear. The first 5, Jesus Ruiz, Ray Vukovic, Chuck Rextalis, Rayon Edwards, and Diane Verratti. Jesus Ruiz, Ray Vukovic, Chuck Rextalis, Rayon Edwards, Diane Verratti. Go ahead, Mr. Dean.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Alderman, and fellow citizens. It is a pleasure to be here at City Hall once again to update you on a few exciting things happening at College of Lake County. As the Dean at the College of Lake County Lakeshore Campus, I'm grateful for the continued collaboration and support provided to our college and your Waukegan campus. I'm proud to share that the enrollment at the Lakeshore campus continues to grow. This semester, we've seen a 35% increase in student enrollment, surpassing our pre-pandemic levels. The increase has led to 1,300 students being served right here in Waukegan. Once again, this is a fantastic achievement as we are surpassing what we had pre-pandemic. I am proud to share that enrollment continues to grow. We expect this to continue in the upcoming semesters, and I'll keep you informed as that happens. This growth reflects our strong commitment to ensuring that every student succeeds at CLC. One example of that commitment is a recent designation as a Leader College of Distinction by the Achieving the Dream Network. This honor recognizes colleges that demonstrate sustained improvement in student outcomes while reducing equity gaps. I hope you will join me in congratulating our faculty, staff, and students for all they do to ensure CLC remains a national leader for years to come. Next month, we'll be celebrating the groundbreaking of our Lakeshore Urban Farm. We are thrilled to begin construction, and I cannot wait to show you, Waukegan, what we can all accomplish together in this innovative space. Finally, I'd like to extend a warm invitation to all of you to come and visit us during our open house this Saturday, April 12th, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can visit not just our Lakeshore campus here in Waukegan, but also our Grace Lake, South Lake, and our Advanced Technology Center in Gurnee. And of course, our brand new Braylock Prairie restaurant in Grace Lake. Come and explore our programs, meet our amazing faculty, tour our facilities, and see all the exciting opportunities we have to offer at College of Lake County. Thank you for your time and attention, and I look forward to seeing you all on April 12th. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Ray Vukovic?
Good evening. I'd like to just take 3 minutes and give my 2 cents about a guy named Bill Durkin. You know, 32 years ago next month, he was elected mayor. I was serving on the city council then. I knew him as city clerk. I didn't support him. We were of opposite parties, but the day after the election, I walked into his office and I congratulated him and told him that Waukegan had far too many problems for us to all be in different corners and that we need to work together, and offered my services to him, whatever he wanted. The next day he called me and asked me to chair the finance committee, which I did for all 8 years of his administration. And you know, sometimes you look at things and you wonder, how did that happen, or why did it happen? Now, the boundaries of Waukegan haven't changed, really gotten any larger than they were back then. But 32 years ago, the fire department had 3 stations, and the furthest west was at Lewis and Monroe. So out in the Mid Lane neighborhood and the River Road neighborhood, that's as far as we went. So under the Durkin administration, Station 2 and Station 5 were built. There was, this building was, purchase of property happened under his administration. Construction didn't happen until afterwards. Genesee Theater was acquired under his administration. Bill was a quiet guy that let other people around him do what they needed to do, and he didn't care who got the credit as long as things got done. He grew up just right up the street on North Avenue. Other than a couple of years in the military, his entire work life was down in the downtown area, 20 years here and the rest on Genesee Street. People don't realize, but I believe he was the 2nd baby born at St. Trees Hospital. So he's been his whole life in Waukegan. But I'd be remiss not to, since it's St. Patrick's Day, not to talk about a trip to the Illinois Municipal League convention one year. And most of you probably have been there. And after a day of sessions and then dinner, we'd come back for a drink at Kitty O'Shea's, and a few Waukegan people walk in and the band's playing and stops in the middle of a song, and the singer says, "Attention everyone, the mayor of Waukegan has entered the room." You know, considering there are 1,300 municipalities and villages in Illinois, I thought he commanded a pretty good attention. So just a few thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you for that great tribute.
Chuck Roxtalis. I have to say, thoughts and prayers are to the Durkin family. I've known Bill since 1980, 81, when he became clerk. I mentioned to the clerk tonight that I should have been wearing green, I guess, but I'm a Lithuanian guy that my parents grew up on Lenox Street near 10th Street. Most of my life have been in the 5th Ward of the 7th Ward. And I would just remind this group that the Lake County concert tickets that we gave out at one of the council meetings, the April 6th concert, the last one of this season, is good with that ticket as well. So hope you guys can attend that. And the second thing I wanted to talk about was public safety and health. Given the fire chief, police chief talked, I think, you know, I was a little surprised that the Public Safety and Health Committee was not on the agenda again tonight. Once again, if that's being buried somewhere. I'd like to ask that thank Ann Taylor for trying to influence Springfield on regulation, but we found that there's a deaf ear down there, even with my Northwestern graduate guy that's down there. They don't have any influence, and they can't have any influence on the local zoning issues that we have. The federal government, EPA, has taken over 9 years to draft a toxic regulation. Now the new administration has eliminated most EPA regulations, so don't count on the state or federal government to enforce any air or water qualities. You'll need to form a committee to do so, and then as a home rule city, you need local control to do this. And I realize most of the folks here, we're talking about gun violence. I also think that air and water quality kills many people in this city, and we need to take steps to integrate the land use plan that has been developed already with your UDO. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Rayon Edwards?
Hate to come behind people with such bad vibes, right? But Chief, I have to say, the numbers you and your deputy chief gave up here today, they full of crap. You cannot expect us to believe that crime done went down when we reading the papers and we living in these communities. Traffic. How many people have been hit and ran and just gone? I don't know if those numbers was here presented to make you look good because we getting ready to go into April 1st or what. But when we get up here and blatantly lie to this community, it's disgusting. I appreciate the service of Bill Durkin and all he's put in this community. But to walk in this council today to see his picture was appreciative. But to also hear you speak about him, Mayor. Josh Kirkwood died at 4114. Kirkwood used to be an alderman on this council. You served with him. You didn't even give condolences to the family. He was also a business owner in the city of Waukegan. I would hate to own a business here. Because if I died, would y'all say anything? Would y'all appreciate the people that keeps this community going? I'm listening to y'all talking about the slot machines and a penny tax. How many black businesses didn't pay their taxes and y'all shut them down, George Bridges? How many times did I have to call you because y'all wouldn't even let business operate because they owed a soda tax? But these is the people that live in your community. The people that own the slot machines, they not from here. They have no incentive of us looking good or giving a damn about these people. So I say to you, council, when is y'all going to legislate, govern? We always talk about being business friendly, Keith Turner. Have you looked in Highland Park, Libertyville, Lake Forest, just to name a few? Well, I'm going to tell you I have, and it ain't a liquor store on every corner. It ain't a slot machine in every last one of their gas stations. And crime is not up high. Their kids is not being shot. People are not being ran over and left dead in the street. But that's what alcohol do to your community. Waukegan is a dumping ground. Have you noticed? All the resources is here. Anybody from around the world will come here if they want a fresh start. Do you blame them? And what are y'all doing? You are feeding it. When you give black and brown alcohol, you killing them. And you want to be mayor of the city, you don't give a damn about the city. You give a damn about power. And I say to you, Mayor, you don't care either. You on the outskirts, so you don't have to deal with the mess that goes in the city. Because you get to go home in your big, beautiful house in peace. Y'all disgust me.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Diane Verratti.
Once again, Alderman, as much as I would love to affirm all of your actions, I remain absolutely horrified by your vote to hire an attorney to represent you. Mr. Weiss, Waukegan's Corporation Counsel, is the city's chief legal officer. I'm not an attorney, but my understanding of his job is to provide legal advice and representation to the city, its officials, and departments. My observations as a regular at city council meetings are that Mr. Weiss protects you, elected officials, from making decisions that are, to put it bluntly, illegal. He keeps you from harm, saves you from yourselves, and preserves the integrity of the city. According to Alderman Guzman, you need an attorney, his words, to handle all ordinances and all legislative suggestions. Forgive me, but in the last 2 years, I have witnessed some incredibly stupid suggestions, which Mr. Weiss has carefully kept you from pursuing based on the law, not someone's opinion. Additionally, Alderman Guzman claims that the money to invest in an attorney to represent council members is already available. I think it's in my wallet. Alderman Turner states, again, a quote, "There's a lack of consistency in rulings, a lack of investigating conflicts of interest. Many decisions are colored by and favorable to the mayor's office. Investigations into ethical allegations made against people seem not to be handled expeditiously, specifically the investigation of allegations against Mayor Taylor." Does Alderman Turner expect Corporation Counsel to invest allegations made during audience time at every city council meeting? And Alderman, your words carried more than a hint of accusation toward Mr. Weiss. I do not buy any of your rhetoric. Again, I'm not an attorney, but Alderman Hayes is. In a previous meeting, he pointed out that this decision is, quote, "a bad idea, bad look, and creates bad ethics." What if all 9 aldermen do not agree on Alderman Guzman's legislative suggestions? My belief is that these meetings will disintegrate into situations in which an attorney representing a few aldermen and the attorney representing the city will present differing viewpoints and waste even more time and money. I see increasing chaos in our future. We'll definitely make the news headlines as 2 factions battle over numerous issues that should not even be considered. I've shared this decision with lots of friends and neighbors. Not a single individual expresses support for this action. In addition, I can hardly imagine that a reputable, respected attorney would even agree to consider entering into such an agreement, and I beseech you to reconsider this appallingly ridiculous
Thank you,
decision.
Ms. Diane. Thank you. The next 5, please go ahead and get to the east side. That would be Robert Rataka. I'm not sure if I said that right. Robert Rataka, Joe Kopsik, Edwin Lagunas, Dennis Simpson, Anahita Rajman. Make sure you say your name because I might have butchered it. Go right ahead.
Good evening, council. Good evening, Mayor Taylor. I'm attorney Robert Rataka, and I represent La Cantina. Before you today, I have employees, friends, and family that are here in support, and I'd like to take a moment for them to stand up because they took their time to be here. La Cantina is a family-owned business. For those of you that don't know, it's the adjacent property next to Toluca's. It's run by a father and son, the Lagunas family. They are here today supported by their employees, friends, and family that for the last 6 months have waited patiently for the Waukegan Liquor Commission to grant them employment, grant them a place to be with their families, and grant them their freedom and their liberty to exercise their right to be employed. We've gone through this application process now for approximately 6 months.
Please.
Sorry, I pace.
Yeah.
It starts.
You need to be by the microphone.
Okay.
It doesn't pick up for the.
I hear you. Am I good? You're good. All right. In October of 2024, there was a notice for an occupancy permit. That's how it started. We went through the process. We went through the hearings. We took care of the occupancy permit. The application process now has indicated a business license, a liquor license application, and a background check. It's been indicated that on April 1st is when you take renewals, but not acting and not deciding on whether La Cantina should have a liquor license is denying it by putting it at the bottom of the pile while all these people here wait for a decision of whether they're going to be employed. These are loyal people. You heard from Rayon Edwards about what we want for Waukegan. These people were born here. They were educated here. They raise families here, and they're employed here. They deserve the opportunity based on no public nuisance violations, no violence violations. None of the statistics that Chief Navarro referred to today are attributable to them. They want a fair hearing, and they've gone through the process. That's extraordinary fees that have been paid, that is dealing with the chief of staff, that is dealing with counsel, Mr. Martinez. I've met with all of them. I've gone through all the protocol. They could have made a choice to ignore just certain fines and continue to be open and operated, but they've waited patiently out of respect to the process. Now, the process has indicated that upon fulfilling their application, that they deserve the right to have a hearing, and they deserve the right to be able to be heard on their application, which hasn't been done in approximately 4.5 months when it was submitted the week before January 1st. I move that this
Thank you, Mr.
application
Rataka. Thank you.
expedited, and
Thank
that
you.
these people
Oh, thank you. Mr. Joe Kopsick.
their license.
Mr. Joe Kopsick, you're next.
It's good to see you again. I'm Joe Kopsick, an 8-year Waukegan resident, originally from Lake Bluff. Out of more than 3,000 counties in America, only 19 of them tax property value more than Lake County does. Property owners feel overtaxed, and they are. That's why I want to tell you about a plan to stop taxing property value and start taxing the unimproved value of property. Land value taxation, or LVT, is a plan to decrease urban sprawl and conserve space in densely populated areas by reducing the number of vacant lots in the middle of cities. LVT would tax the owners of such parcels of land because those parcels are going unused, and their non-use makes it impossible for everyone else to derive use from that land. So then the owners should pay a fee to the city in exchange for continuing to exercise ownership of that property. Cities already do and could continue to use tax liens or other tools to ensure that those who don't pay such fees would have their property confiscated and temporarily put into city custody until it can be auctioned off in a fair bidding process in which monopolists and land speculators can't place bids. 4 years ago, I looked at the city budget, classified all taxes into types, and determined whether they follow LVT principles or could coexist with LVT. In my opinion, as much as 60% of the current city budget can and should be replaced with taxes on the despoliation, hoarding, and non-improvement of land. I propose phasing land value taxes in slowly over 4 years. This proposal could be enacted with or without a basic income. I propose letting each city decide. If you don't mind, I'd like to give you each a copy of this proposal. I can also email you a video I made based on this proposal, and I have unabbreviated versions of this speech. I'll do so at the end of my time. While looking at the budget, I also learned that the city operates a vacant lots registry fund. So to facilitate the phasing in of land value taxes, I propose that the city expand that fund into a sort of vacant lots and homes, polluted or blighted or hoarded lands, and parcels housing abandoned construction project registry fund. It may also help if that fund could eventually partner with or maybe even merge into local land conservation agencies, community land trusts, and water reclamation districts. Using LVT, we would tax the despoliation of land in an intentionally punitive way, instead of accidentally appear to punish taxpayers for producing by taxing income, sale and purchase, and construction. We should phase in LVT while phasing out taxes on working, buying, selling, consuming, and building values. In summary, tax land, not man. Tax land, not labor or capital. Tax bads, not goods. That includes soda. Get rid of the soda tax. And tax destruction, not production. May I approach and hand you each a copy? Thank you.
Edwin Lagunas?
Can you guys hear me? Hello, my name is Edwin Lagunas, owner and manager of La Cantina. I'm here in peace, no trouble with all my friends, family. I am here to clear up some misunderstandings you guys might have on me. It is being portrayed that one day I woke up and just decided to open a business, a bar to be specific, with no permit license, which is far from the truth. I wanted to do everything the right way from the start, but I was told otherwise. I was given the green light to open my business back with some conditions. no liquor license, and just an expansion of the restaurant, which is why I named it Toluca's Restaurant and Cantina. 2, I had to put a wall preventing the access to the banquet hall from the bar, which I did. And 3, I could not call it Bombo, which was my previous business. I passed the inspections done by the fire marshal, and then we opened. 2 years running a successful bar to only get closed down December 13, 2024, with no reason. It took 2 full weeks to get a response from someone. After getting a response, I was told that I was running a bar with no permit license. So 2 years running a bar in Waukegan and nobody knew? So my question to you guys is, how do you expect a business to succeed and do the right thing when you lead them to the wrong path from the start? Communication is very key, and there isn't any here. Example, I stopped coming to City Hall because nobody seems to have answers. You come 3 times and ask the same question, and you get 3 different responses. Another example is I was on the agenda for this hearing, and I was taken 2 days ago. Why? Because I had a DUI in 2018. Yes, I made a mistake, and I'm not afraid to speak on it. I'm not upset about being taken off if that's the rule. I am upset that the background check was done over a month ago, and this got brought up 2 days ago before the hearing. If the communication was there, I could have switched the application to my wife or my dad's name, but the communication was not there. Also, and I'm running out of time, but in conclusion, where is it? In conclusion, I wanted to clear this up in front of every single one of you, so when April 7th comes, you guys know the background and take into consideration that I'm now working with the city to head the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Dennis Sinson.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dennis Simpson. I'm a Waukegan resident, and my family has been a part of this city since 1920. My grandfathers both, my father's father and mother's father, worked together at the Elgin Joliet Railroad and raised families here on Market Street. I was named after my father's cousin, Dennis Gonzalez, who died in Vietnam and has his name immortalized on the wall of the Veterans Memorial in Veteran Plaza just down the street. He was also from Waukegan. As a lifelong resident of Waukegan, I'm here to support Edwin Lagunas and La Cantina. I'm a dual-talented graphic designer and DJ and owner of Unforgiven Events and Entertainment, LLC, and a DJ with almost 32 years of experience. For the past 17 years, my career has been my source of income for my family. Among those 17 years, I have had the pleasure of working with Edwin Lagunas for approximately 8. However, since the beginning of this year, I faced significant financial challenges due to the closure of La Cantina. The unfortunate event has made me realize that I'm not only in this struggle. The staff of La Cantina has also been hit hard, losing their jobs without any notice and facing uncertainty about when they can resume work. Waukegan is a city deeply rooted in music, whether it's live music or DJing, whether you prefer a bar, a club, or an outdoor event out by our lake. There's always a vibrant music scene to enjoy. I've had the privilege of working in almost every venue in Waukegan and throughout Lake County, collaborating with Edwin and his family and La Cantina and Toluca's has been an absolute pleasure. Together, we've helped Edwin develop a unique style for La Cantina and has garnered the appreciation of many. I generally hope that this city doesn't allow another successful business to fall victim to its unfortunate tendencies. Over the past 17 years, I've witnessed this happen multiple times. And it's disheartening to see new businesses struggle to open their doors due to the city's perceived bullying of small business community. And in ending, I do want to say thank you to the Waukegan Fire Department for fighting that fire on Corona. That was my neighbor.
Thank you. Anahita.
Good evening, Mayor Taylor and councilmen. I would like to start off by taking time to thank all of you for allowing us the space and platform to speak. My name is Anahita, and I come before you today not just as an employee of La Cantina, but as someone who has witnessed firsthand as well the sense of community that it fosters. La Cantina is not only a bar, it is a gathering place where friendships are made, where neighbors connect, milestones are celebrated, and where the local economy thrives. La Cantina is a direct reflection of its owner, Edwin Lagunas, whose passion for this community extends far beyond the walls of his business. Edwin has dedicated his time to volunteering at community events, organizing social gatherings to support other local establishments, and ensuring that those around him feel a true sense of belonging. His leadership and generosity have made La Cantina like a second home for so many. The relationships we have built go far beyond customers and staff. We truly are a family. In the 10 years I have known Edwin, I have watched him grow into a family-oriented man. I have witnessed and been part of the celebration of all of his greatest accomplishments, not only as a father, but as a husband as well. And as if dealing with a house full of women isn't enough, he shows up every day for a predominantly female staff and still manages to create an environment where we all feel seen, heard, and cared for. For years, La Cantina has been a fundamental place for Waukegan. It has not only provided jobs to many, but also encompassed a safe and welcoming space for people from all walks of life. We rally together and support one another in all of life's most important moments. As an establishment, we have hosted birthdays, baby showers, engagement parties, celebrated the LGBT community, spent holidays together, and created a space for small businesses to represent themselves and showcase their work, allowing them to gain exposure. Closing its doors has left a void, not just in our livelihoods, but in the heart of the community. Reopening La Cantina isn't just about business. It's about restoring a place that brings people together, uplifts local artists and entrepreneurs, and contributes to the vibrancy of the city. I highly urge you to consider the positive impact it has had and will continue to have if given the chance. I thank you all again for your time and consideration and ask from the bottom of my heart that you take into account all that I have mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. 14 days, folks. Just remember, 14 days. Go out to vote, okay? First of all, my words are directed to legal counsel, chief of police, and the taxpayers of Waukegan. I just stepped out of this meeting, city council meeting, and what do I see? The mayor's husband, Wayne Taylor, walking out of the mayor's office. Meanwhile, that's illegal. Folks, this is the second time. Wayne Taylor is not a Waukegan city employee. Wayne Taylor is not authorized to enter offices or the building without authorization. Wayne Taylor does not have a city security card, FOB card, whatever it's called. He does not have access to confidential information. We don't know what the hell he's doing over there. I will be filing a police report reporting to the AG. Next, once again, Stu, just remember, mayor's comments were in the beginning, not at the end to retaliate against what I have to say today. Okay, thank you. The next thing is I want especially the blacks and Latinos to listen up. In 2018, there was a class action federal lawsuit that was filed in response to unlawful arrest. Officers who use traffic stops or other tactics to make arrests without a warrant. I would say, Chief, about half of the arrests on Latinos and blacks in this community have been illegal. Okay? You can sue. And you can personally sue the officer and the chief of police because, Chief, you also have violated Latinos' civil rights. Next, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. A business owner came here to City Hall for some business. And Ann, your city employees were electioneering, trying to convince this business owner to vote for Ann. It was during city time on city property. And they stated that all of them have been working on her campaign, the entire department. Yes, we're getting the FOIA of the video. And the next thing that I want to, I have 28 seconds, to all those persons from La Cantina, are you aware that Ann has her campaign girl, has a business here in Waukegan, has been operating illegally 4 years without a liquor license, doing drugs without a business license of any kind whatsoever. So you got a lawsuit. If you don't get your license, go for it, okay? Because that is wrong, okay? I'll be publishing that picture with the drug narco.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Amara?
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor, for having us and council members. Oh, can you hear me now? Yes. Okay. Hi, my name is Amara Leith, resident of Waukegan, born and raised here. I'm here on behalf of Edwin and his team from Cantina. I've known Edwin since I was 21. I'm 27, about to be 28 now. And I'm just coming here to ask you guys to give him a chance. I did try to help him in regards to receiving the liquor license. I did go over the email. I read it multiple times. We would send it. They would say, oh, you're missing this. We'd send it back. They say, oh, you're missing this. So it's kind of been a runaround circle for us. I can see how it's very frustrating for him. Like Edwin, he admitted his fault, the faults that he had in his past, and he's trying to become better, and he has become better. He has 3 daughters now, very beautiful daughters, a very healthy family. And so I'm just asking you, as the council members and the mayor, we are Waukegan, the city of progress. I'm just going to ask you to help him progress with his business and open back up so that we can finally have an establishment that makes everybody feel seen. And Edwin has always incorporated other businesses. He's always celebrated and always supported other businesses as well. He's never preyed on anybody's downfall. So I'm just hoping that you take it into consideration and help him reopen Cantina. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian Ulowa?
Oh, I thought it was me.
Brian Ulowa? Brian Ulowa? Carlo Smith?
Y'all know I always I come with a word every time I come, all right? So I got to bring y'all a word today, all right? So in the hood, on the block, is this thing called big bank take little bank. And what that means is if me and my mans, we arguing about who got the most money in our pocket, he got to pull out the money. And if I got more money than him, I take his money. If he got more money than me, then he take my money, right? So when I hear Stu talk about the taxes on the machines, and it's $11 million, right? That's a game of big bank take little bank because y'all ain't got y'all bread, right? If that happened on the block, something got to happen to you. Like, bro, I need my bread, bro. You got to come see me. You feel me? So if I ran my business, which I did, and it was down the street, and if I owed y'all some money, I couldn't do nothing, right? If I owed the beverage tax, if I owed any tax, I was smoked over. I couldn't even sell nothing. So when I hear y'all tell me that somebody owe y'all $11 million, I got to step back and say, y'all ain't about that life. Because if it was me, y'all going to come get the bread. You feel me? Or y'all going to come and shut down a business and be like, dog, you smoked over. And smoked over means you can't sell nothing. So if you want to keep the same behavior that you keep with me, you gotta keep the same behavior with somebody that owe you $11 million, right? Because we talk about being consistent and we talk about keeping it 1,000 and how y'all want to treat everybody the same. But you can't do that if you telling me straight up, Stu, somebody owe you $11 million. Because if they owe me $11 million, guess what I'm doing? We going to court. If we can't go to court, I'm pulling up to your crib. So Waukegan, y'all got to pull up to the crib. Because if again, I got to go back to it. My man's trying to open his business, trying to get his stuff. You see they pulled up, didn't they? Applying pressure. So all y'all got to look at the constituents and say, yo, they pulled up. And next time, if y'all tweak again, if y'all tweak mean if y'all mess up a little bit, guess what's going to happen? They're going to double the numbers. And they're going to pull up. So I'm asking y'all, in my last 30 seconds, keep the same energy when somebody owe you $11 million that you have with them or me. Because y'all look fugazi. When somebody owe you 11 million bucks and you playing court games, no, dog. Your machine shut down or whatever they at. And that may hurt the business owner. But you gotta affect the bottom line just like you affect my bottom line. You affect his bottom line. Affect the gambler business people, affect their bottom line, all right? That's it.
Thank you, sir. Jose Sanchez, sir.
Madam Mayor, council members, how y'all doing this evening? Happy St. Patrick's Day, by the way. I'm here today to voice my strong support in keeping Cantina open, giving it its liquor license, because it has established itself with Toluca as a cultural hub for this city. I come from, Texas, and I've seen a bunch of small towns have their entertainment districts stripped away and city goes under, right? And I think most of us here want an entertainment district within the city of Waukegan. We've tried it downtown, we tried it on Washington Street, but now we're focused somewhere else sometimes, and it feels like our focus is going somewhere else. Like I said, Cantina is a cultural hub with the city of 57% is Latino. Where are a lot of these Latinos going for their entertainment? They're going outside of the city sometimes. They're going to the city of Chicago. They're going to Pilsen. They're going elsewhere and not here. We would want to bring those community dollars into this city. We would want these citizens, these people that live in this community that work hard, building their families up. I know some of these people that are here, they're their own business owners. And they've only been able to become those business owners because of people like Edwin, because he was the one to support their dream and support their business. This city votes in about 7% of this population votes. I know that, a lot of you know that. 57% of this population is Hispanic. Edwin serves 57% of this population. If, whenever they decide to become a sleeping giant and want to vote the way that they would like to vote, I think we all know what will happen. So at this point, I think, respectfully, it's been 2 years dragged on that we don't give him a clear sign of what he should do, which doesn't give a clear sign for other businesses to do. Businesses across the street from him have shut down because they either don't have enough support from the city and that street doesn't get quote unquote protected enough. And I think, as I'm rambling on, I got 30 seconds left, I think Edwin and most of the community leaders here would love to sit down at the table and talk, how can we progress? How can we become that city of progress more and more and more like other cities? Like where I come from, San Marcos, they have a lively college students area. We have a college campus here. Bring those college dollars into our city. It'll just make us better. It'll make us the city of progress. It'll make us that big sign behind y'all. It'll mean something for a lot of people. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am, that concludes the audience portion.
Okay. On to consent agenda. Can I have a motion for a first and a second?
I'll second that.
Motion.
First, Alderman Turner. Second was Alderman, was it Guzman?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, we do. After we do them all, we'll do the roll call. The first item is a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes from Monday, March 3rd, 2025. Item B is a motion to approve and ratify the regular payroll dated March 7th, 2025, in a total amount of $2,030,304.31. Item C, a motion to approve and ratify miscellaneous payroll dated March 7th, 2025, in a total amount of $40,391.82. Item E, an ordinance approving a conditional use permit for motor vehicle sales at 3030 Washington Street in the B3 General Commercial District. Item F, a resolution authorizing the second extension of a conditional use permit authorizing the Board of Trustees of the Community College 532, College of Lake County, to operate an educational institution at 100 West Madison Street.
I got a question real quick.
Okay.
So E and F, why were they not on old business? Why are they on the consent agenda?
Because these were all decided before, like they've all been discussed, but you want to...
Yeah, just, so there are items that were voted on in committee 2 weeks ago, and in general, if they got approval and then they waited 2 weeks, rather than going the same night, they've been put on consent. If you'd like to pull them off, you can. But it's usually, the ideal is that something that received support in committee waited 2 weeks and then goes on consent. It really doesn't matter. It could be put on new business as well.
Yeah, and then it always goes with a favorable or unfavorable vote. So why, I just don't understand why isn't it on the consent agenda?
They were unanimously approved.
Yeah.
Okay, when other stuff has been unanimously approved, they don't go in the consent agenda.
Well, if there's been no questions in either briefings or in, they've been unanimous, you can put them either place.
Do you want to just pull them so we can vote on them?
No,
Let's just vote.
I'm going to vote yes. That's not the problem. The problem is where they were put in.
It can go either place. Any other questions to the motion? Okay, roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Felix.
Aye.
Alderman Newsome.
Aye.
Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Alderman Donnerworth. Alderman Donnerworth.
Aye.
Alderman Florian.
Aye.
I'm there.
Alderman Hayes.
Aye.
Alderman Bolton.
Aye.
Alderman Guzman.
Aye.
Alderman Martinez.
Aye.
Motion passed, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Treasurer's report, Dr. Schwab.
I'm Dr. John Schwab. I've been your treasurer for the last 16 years. I'm happy to report that the monthly treasury report for February has been completed. It's available on the first floor at Janet Kelly's office in hard copy. It's also on the city's website. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
There was a video recently that you stated we were balancing the budget by using COVID funds instead of, like the normal way of balancing the budget. So on this report, where does the COVID money show up on your report?
I don't have that right now, but I certainly will call you tomorrow and let you know. We have Alderman, we have 70 funds. Okay.
Right, but you made a specific point of saying that money was particularly being used in sort of an unethical way,
Okay,
I
Alderman,
guess.
when did I say that?
I saw a video where you said that the mayor has used this money to balance the
We have
budget, and so I wanted to know.
I'm glad you asked. We have transferred, $7 million.
Okay, transferred.
I said, we made it simpler. We made $3 million each year. It's been $7 million over the last 3 years. I'm glad you brought it up.
7 million total or 7 million each?
7
year?
million.
Okay, and transferred it from where to where, are you saying?
We transferred it into the budget. So the budget's not balanced.
Well, but wasn't all the COVID money earmarked for certain things? Like you could only spend it on HVAC or vehicles or?
Alderman, I don't spend any money, all right? I only, move money when I'm authorized. I only spend the money, transferring the money that you authorize to spend.
Right.
I don't spend any money.
Okay, can I?
Right? The total amount of money I've had since I've come here, they gave me $20 penny cash and told me don't spend that. And so far, I have not spent the $20. I still have it. So I haven't spent a dollar here. Aldermen spend the money.
Okay, so, but I just want clarity around why there's this misconception that the COVID money was misspent. It was very clear what you could spend that money on.
That's the money I've transferred.
Okay, any other questions for Dr. Schwab?
I'll go on. So the phone number to my office is 847-599-2569. That's 847-599-2569. To continue regarding the safety of the Waukegan taxpayers' money, first of all, I reported that I found some stealing in the collector's office. I brought the credit cards into the city hall for the convenience of citizens and the safety of our cash. Next, the insurance of our investments. The first $250,000 is FDIC insured. The rest is private insurance. Many of the insurance institutions require funds insured at 102, 105, 107 of your tax dollars. I require 110%. If the bank does not want to spend that money to get it, they don't get your money. When the technology became available, I brought in Smart Safe, a reverse cash machine that is very accurate. A cashier deposits the cash from the morning and gets a ticket, the same at the end of the day, adds them up, and that's the total. The minute the cash is put into the Smart Safe, it is recorded as if it's in our account in the bank. Twice a week, armored car picks up the deposits. No employee is responsible any longer for taking the money to the bank. The checks are electronically deposited. Check fraud has been stopped completely by a program called Positive Pay, which records all checks we issue. The deputy treasurer must do this download every day if she's out sick or if she's on vacation. That protects all checks that we issue. And since this has been in place, we've had many attempts at check fraud, and none of them have gone through. On a little more personal note, I'm half Irish. My mother was Betty McCann. Her father was John F. McCann, a longtime county board member. His farm was on the west side of River Road. We've all heard about River Road. His father was Henry McCann, who came from a small town of Tyrone, Ireland, as a single man and homesteaded River Road, which is now Waukegan. Have a great St. Patrick's Day.
I have a question. Can you clarify? I thought I heard you said stealing debit cards or something like that. What was that again? I'm sorry. I thought I heard you say something about stealing debit cards or stealing something. Or what was that about? Did you catch somebody stealing credit cards or what was the comment?
The program of Positive Pay stops all check fraud.
No, prior to that. You said I stopped all debit cards or something like that?
No. When I came here, Alderman, 16 years ago, you could not use, a citizen couldn't use a credit card for anything. Simple water bill, parking ticket, and certainly a permit. If they didn't have their checkbook, they had to go back to their truck or they had to go back to their business and bring it back. I know it's hard to believe, 16 years ago, we didn't accept any credit cards here. The situation is fraud can happen, stealing can happen in cash. When you use credit cards, it's a protection of the city money and the citizens' money because there's a trail. If there's a discrepancy or it's put in the wrong whatever, we can find it very quickly and correct it.
Great
I
job.
hope that answers your question.
Yes, it did. Thank you. Great job. I thought I heard something else. I thought somebody was stealing our credit cards or called somebody stealing. I was like,
We're going to go on to old business. There being none, new business. Did anybody want to omnibus?
I'll make a motion, we omnibus, but we'll have to take out C and N.
C and N was, yes.
I'd like to take out A, B, and E. Awesome.
Should we just do them one by one then? Okay. What is it?
I'd like to pull out, Alderman Guzman pulled out B,
Yes.
A, B, and I'd like to pull out H, K, excuse me, H, K,
We're just going to
H,
do all of them.
K, L, and M.
We're just going to do all of them. Okay, item A, can I have a first and a second?
So move.
Who was that? Alderman Martinez, a second?
Alderman Bolton.
Who was Alderman Bolton? Thank you. This is a resolution approving the necessary repairs to address drainage and flooding issues and repair the roadway on Seahorse Drive by Ravine Paving per section 2-458I, a good faith waiver for a not to exceed amount of $225,170.15. Questions to that motion?
I do.
Alderman Guzman.
Okay, I go down all that time. I've never seen any flooding. So why is this road being done at $225,000?
I can answer that. The flooding occurs, maybe you just haven't gone when there was a lot of rain, but the flooding occurs kind of where the shed is, the little payment shed for the police to hang out in when they're billing people coming in the beach. And it goes all the way across the road and it goes into Larson's property. And the road is eroding there. That's the problem.
Okay, so this comes to my exact, I was bringing up last time with these big semi-trucks going over. Do you remember that? And I said, why are we going to spend money on repaving the road? And you said there'd be no damage because there is no repaving. And here we are, repaving the road. So how much money? $225,000 that's going to be thrown out the window?
It doesn't include just paving the road. It includes getting rid of the flooding. So they're gonna put drainage under the road so it won't flood anymore. And I believe in your briefing, they probably explained to you, there's gonna be 2 lanes coming into the beach. There's times when the beach line backs up all the way up onto Grand Avenue in the summer, when it's a hot day, a holiday, whatever. So now there'll be 2 lanes. They're gonna move the shack down to the corner. They're gonna put in an island or a pork chop or whatever they call it, to put the shack on the pork chop. So it's not just repaving the road, it's re-engineering, if you will, the whole entrance there. So it'll be smoother for people to get to the beach, the line won't be so long, and the flooding will be mitigated. The people doing the work are here. Would you like them to explain more?
No, because I still have semis filled with huge boulders tearing up that road right after we do it. And this is why we voted a couple of weeks ago. This was my whole argument about not renewing that contract. But you made it very, very clearly that it would be no damage to our roads. We would not be using taxpayer money to redo the road, and it will be no damage. And here we are.
Well, there's no proof that the trucks did this damage. The flooding has done the damage.
So you're telling me heavy semis, 87,000 pounds, are not going to damage the roads? Look at all of Illinois.
Alderman Guzman, can
All
we
over
have,
the world.
Alderman Guzman, can we have our engineer come up and discuss this? This isn't a battleground of, let's get the expert in here.
Good evening, council members. To answer Alderman Guzman's question, this would be more of a temporary condition. We are proposing a 2-inch HMA binder and a 2-inch surface HMA as well. I say temporary because our next project in line for a proper RFP will be Seahorse Drive realignment and reconstruction. As some of you participated in the Washington Street Corridor Plan, you notice that the dates will be far in the future. Similar concept here. While the road does need to be taken care of in this section, that's one issue we need to address. There's ponding that occurs at the north side of the property and along the south side. So we're gonna add 2 inlet catch basins that will feed into the existing storm sewer to alleviate some of those problems that are ongoing and provide a better plan for our beach operations in the summer. So all in all, I consider this more of a temporary condition that will last a couple years until we have the actual reconstruction, realignment of Seahorse Drive, which is next in queue in my office to start the phase 1 engineering.
Okay, so how long does that take? What, 3 to 5 years?
It's gonna take about 7.
7 years. So divide that into, what, 225,000? How much is that? So you're throwing away, what, $35,000 a year? And then the damage that it's causing with these 87,000 pounds plus that go through, that's going to go there through every day. This is the reason why I wanted the contract canceled or done with in April. Then this would not happen. No more damage.
That wouldn't change things, though. Their flooding is there now. It's not going to change. The problem we have currently is the road floods and the line for the beach backs up. Those are 2 issues that do not have anything to do with the trucks.
The trucks
Okay.
don't go down that far.
I understand that. You get the truck, you pay the money, you redo the road. The truck comes through that road, it's going to damage. You have no truck, then okay, I agree. You pay for it.
Well, you are totally 100% allowed to vote no on this.
Actually, I'm going to put a motion to hold over.
And I want a motion to try to override the hold. They are giving us a great price because they're going to do the project first. If we don't approve it tonight, we're not going to get this price. So,
Okay.
I'll second that.
To what? Override the hold?
Right, yeah.
Okay. So can I have a roll call, please, to, was the first motion up for, I don't even remember now.
There was there a first and second on the motion, on the original motion?
Not on the original motion, no.
Guzman.
Wait, hold on.
I'm not sure who Victor Felix
He-
second.
Hold on, I
override.
want to ask, was there a first and second on the motion when it was called?
Sorry, you want me to go in the other room for a
Yeah.
while so you can watch TV?
Gentlemen, I need you to do.
Because we've got it stopped so we can watch it, right?
Yes, it's,
I
it
think
doesn't need
Stu
a
means
second.
the motion in
Pause, right?
general.
Who's second?
Okay.
Motion to hold over, yes.
I'll second the motion to hold over.
Okay, well, first, I need to know, when 7A was called, was there a first and second for it?
There was.
Okay, there was a first and a second, and then Alderman Guzman suggested that he wanted to hold it over. A holdover does not require a vote unless it is overruled by 2/3 of the city council. So that it would be 6 votes to continue with the vote as required. So, and the mayor votes on this. So Alderman, I believe, no, it's 6 regardless. So 6 votes to overrule. Mayor does not vote.
So to override Mr. Guzman's holdover.
Yeah, to override and proceed with the
Who's the
vote.
first on that was Florian, and the second was?
Felix.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's before you right now is a motion to override the hold, and that's what you're voting on. Okay, roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Felix. Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Turner.
No.
Alderman Donnerworth.
No.
Alderman Florian.
Aye.
Alderman Hayes.
Aye.
Alderman Bolton.
Aye.
Alderman Guzman.
No.
Alderman Martinez.
Aye.
You have 6 votes.
Okay, so we're voting on this actual resolution. And we've already got a first and a second on it, right? So roll call, please, on the motion.
Alderman Felix. Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Turner.
This is another no bid contract. No.
Alderman Donnerworth.
Aye.
Alderman Florian.
Aye.
Alderman Hayes.
Aye.
Alderman Bolton.
Aye.
Alderman Guzman.
No.
Alderman Martinez.
Aye.
Motion pass.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item B, can I have a first and a second?
So moved.
Alderman Newsom, a second. I need a second.
Second?
Okay, Alderman Martinez. So Alderman Newsom and Alderman Martinez. This is a resolution waiving competitive bidding and authorizing the procurement and installation of 2 outdoor motors for the Waukegan Fire Department dive and rescue boat from the Bay Marine, Chicago, for a not-to-exceed amount of $58,869.43. Fire Chief, do you want to come up and explain this? Because we explained it during committee, but for those of you who didn't hear, I want you to hear why we went with Bay Marine.
Thank you, Mayor. I know one of the concerns, Alderman Turner, is going to be a waiving of the bids. I understand that. We weren't sure we were going to be able to swing this in our budget this year. We have a boat that we haven't, that was given to us on loaner with an IGA from the Lake County Sheriff's Office. It's on a 5-year IGA. When we got the boat last year, one of the motors went bad, so we weren't able to take it out of the harbor. So we weren't able to respond to emergencies out on Lake Michigan. So Alderman Guzman, Alderman Felix were kind enough last meeting to bring up the possibility of getting a new boat. So there's concern about why would we pay $58,000 for new motors when there's a possibility of getting a new boat. And I explained in the committee meeting that the problem is we have no boat right now. So come May 1st, when boating season officially starts, the only thing we have to respond is a 1992 18-foot tube that we use, which is not really seaworthy when you consider Lake Michigan a sea, I guess. So we are in need of a new motor. I explained earlier that if we have one of our fire engines that has a motor that goes bad, we don't just scrap it and be done with it. We pay the $50,000 to get a new motor put in it until the new one gets delivered in a couple years. The current build time for a new boat, if this does happen, is 2 to 3 years. So we need something in the meantime that's more than our 18-foot tube to go out and help people. Boating season's starting, with or without us. There are emergencies every single summer out on Lake Michigan, and we need to be prepared. My job as the fire chief is to do what I can to keep the citizens of Waukegan safe, whether it's on land or whether it's out in the water. And I'm asking for $58,000. I understand the waiving of the bid. Again, we weren't sure we were going to be able to afford that in our budget this year. We can. This is a local business. So here are my thoughts on it that I have written down. So first of all, it's the urgency of the situation. That is why we need to waive the bid. Boating season is beginning in less than 2 months. We need to be ready to go. I believe this could be considered an emergency. Number 2, we actually did get a second price from a vendor that's out of town, and they were $10,000 higher than Bay Marine. Number 3, we have a working relationship with Bay Marine. They've done all the service and maintenance on our boats in the past, and they do a phenomenal job. Number 4, they are in town. So if we have a problem with the motors, we do not have to take our boat out of the water, put it on our trailer, and send it somewhere else to wherever we bought the motors from. They actually take the boat out of the water with their crane and do service on it right there at their facility and get it back in the water immediately. And lastly, they're a Waukegan business, and we're giving money back to our Waukegan business. So again, I understand the concerns.
How long does it take for a new boat? Because you mentioned that.
New boat is 2 to 3 years to build. So, and with the 2 new motors from Bay Marine, if we go out to bid, obviously it takes longer. New motors from Bay Marine, it'll be in the water by May 1st. Please.
I forgot to ask a question earlier. Did you try Larson's Marine? Because they're right
By
now.
the same company now, sir.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Just recently, they were purchased by the same company.
Thank you.
Any other questions to the motion?
No, I'm just surprised that you didn't suggest this earlier, knowing that it's, the boating season is coming, and I'm all about safety, I did have a brother who unfortunately passed, and the rescue boat ran out of gas. Different circumstances, but we need to make sure that we are out there, keeping safety and making sure that our residents are safe, so I'm all for it. I'm surprised, I would have agreed 3 months ago if you would have brought it up.
We weren't sure if we were going to have the money in the budget, sir. That's the reason it didn't come sooner.
Well, you have my vote, for sure.
Thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate that.
roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Felix.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Turner.
Chief, I appreciate your explanations, and I only wish that those explanations were included here in our agenda, not just for my benefit or the council's benefit, but for the benefit of the public. This is an open meeting, and they need to be made aware. This is what I talk about. One of the things I mean when I talk about being transparent, and I'm not, being super critical. I'm not chastising you, I should say, but I am critical of the process and in illuminating the public on how we're spending their money and why. So with that said, I will vote yes. Thank you.
Can you tell me what your vote is, sir?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Donnerworth. Alderman Donnerworth. Alderman Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton. Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Alderman Donnerworth. Okay. Well, it passes.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Item C, before I get a first and a second, we need to amend this because it says the resolution approving the award of the 14th Street Water Main Interconnect Meter. That is now called Audrey Nixon Boulevard. So, do I make a motion to amend that, or just?
Yes, you can just, by unanimous consent, you can vote to.
Well, we have a voice. Can we do voice if we have Alderman Donnerworth on?
Yes, you can, does anyone object to that amendment?
I'm sorry, your mic wasn't on.
Okay, so you can just
Okay.
ask for a roll call on that. That's a scrivener's error, that's all.
Okay. So, we can do a voice on that, though? Or a roll call on that?
There is no objection to, this is just a scrivener's error.
Okay.
You can vote on it as amended.
Okay.
You need a motion
So, I need the first and the second to the motion for item C.
So
Motion.
moved.
Okay, who was the second?
I'll
Alderman
take the
Turner.
second.
Okay, this is
Who was the first?
Alderman Florian, and second was Alderman Turner. And this is a resolution approving the award of the Audrey Nixon Boulevard Water Main Interconnect Meter Vault bid to Campanella and Sons for a not-to-exceed amount of $401,659.94. Any questions to the motion? Okay, roll call, please.
Alderman Felix.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Donnerworth.
Aye.
Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item D, can I have a first and a second?
So moved.
Second?
Alderman Florian and Alderman Martinez. This is a resolution approving a change order number 1 with Kirschhofer Trucking for materials for a not-to-exceed amount of $30,000. Any questions to the motion?
Is this salt?
Yes, we've
Okay.
had so many water main breaks that we blew through our salt.
Okay.
And this is for more salt.
No, it's not salt.
It's not salt, no.
This is sand and gravel that we use.
Yeah.
Sorry, I miss.
Yeah. No other questions? Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Felix.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Donnerworth.
Aye.
Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Can I have a first and a second to item E? I know there's going to be questions on this because it's a good faith waiver. So can I have, is this Jesus that's going to talk on this one?
No, this
Or Chris? Okay. This is a resolution approving the necessary repairs to the River Road Force Main by Campanella and Sons per Section 2-458, which is a good faith waiver for a not-to-exceed amount of $337,730.07. Would you like to explain?
Last year, this project was put on hold for an easement situation over off of River Road. We budgeted for this project, and we had to wait for the easement to come through our corporate counsel and our city engineer. We were not able to put it out for bid because we were going through the easement situation, so we couldn't put it out for bid. So once the easement situation got taken care of, we had a quote from Campanella, so we went with them so that we could use the funding so we could take care of this force main.
So to clarify, there's some of the easement, people don't understand that on River Road, people's easements actually go out to the middle of the road. It's not the side of the road like most people would think. So we've gone through this in corporate counsel. Do you want to explain it a little bit better, or it's pretty self-explanatory?
Yeah, so just to be clear, this is a sanitary force main, which means a sanitary main, which includes sanitary sewage, that is pumped under pressure. It is a galvanized steel pipe that was installed, Chris, I think in like 94. Is that it's
Correct.
In 1994. A pipe with sewage under pressure is not an improvement that you want to fail for obvious reasons. And one of the issues that was alluded to is that River Road is not a fully dedicated road. It actually, most property lines there go to the center of the road. So if there is an improvement in there, basically, if you have a documented right to go in and to replace it, you can. We had to work out to determine if we had that right under law. We do, especially in this case, because we are just replacing, we're not expanding it. We are just replacing it and ensuring that it does not fail. And so the reason for the good faith waiver is that this work is relatively urgent because this is not an improvement. A force main break is much less pleasant to deal with than a water main break.
Okay, I'll leave it as that. Oh, I'm sorry, Alderman Guzman?
So you just said it's sanitary, so why isn't Lake County, what are those people called? The water reclamation are the ones taking care of this pipe? And don't we just supply the regular water, not the dirty water?
I can answer that question. So when the subdivisions were built out on River Road, there was an agreement made with Lake County to connect to their interceptor, which is north of Belvedere Road. So there is this force main connects to the interceptor with Lake County. However, we are responsible for the maintenance of anything that connects downstream. Yeah.
So that was an agreement made, because initially, those homes were actually put on septic tanks, and later, when Waukegan annexed them, that's where that agreement came in.
So with all that being said, and it's perfectly understandable, the scope of the project, what I'm questioning again is why no bid? I get what the project is, I get its importance, but you got your easements, then why not go out to bid? That's where I'm at.
Well,
We've delayed this project for as long as we really can, and it was because of the easements that we had to delay it.
I have one more question. So wasn't this road redone like last year?
Yes, however, where the force main is located, it's outside of the road.
Oh, okay. So we're not going to tear up the road?
No. And the road wasn't repaved there last year.
I thought Alderman Hayes brought that up. What was it? I thought it was last year that we repaved that road
No,
because there
you repaved
wasn't.
Huntington Lakes, which was a subdivision, but you didn't repave River Road.
Oh, okay.
I don't think any roads are being impacted by replacement of this
Okay,
pipe.
sounds good. Thank you.
Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Felix.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Turner.
As a matter of principle, I will not vote for a no bid contract. No.
Donnerworth. Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item F, can I have a first and a second for it?
So moved.
Alderman Florian, a second? Second. Alderman Newsome. This is a resolution approving the procurement of a stimulator from CM Labs per Section 2-458, which is a sole source for a not-to-exceed amount of $219,785.74. So what this simulator does is essentially trains our Public Works employees on different trucks. It'll work with the Water Department, so there'll be multi-departments that will do training on this, but it is a simulator. Not that unlike, it's a different way of doing it, but not unlike when we do the virtual reality for the police department. So it's just a training device. Any questions to the motion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Felix.
Aye.
Newsome.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Donnerworth.
Aye.
Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Can I have a first and a second for item G?
So moved.
Alderman Florian, a second.
I'll second.
Alderman Bolton. This is a resolution approving a retroactive approval of an emergency water main repairs by Joe Kennedy Construction Corporation for a not-to-exceed amount of $112,021.41 per Section 2-458I, and it's a bona fide emergency. And is Antonio here? Okay.
Good evening. Yes, this was an emergency on our 30-inch transmission main that leads to a vault. And it was creating an issue also down Seahorse Drive by the silos there. The water was starting to come across the railroad tracks, and it was creating a big blocks of ice. So the sewer department came out and dug a ditch so the water can go to the lake that was leaking from this 30-inch main. And also, we couldn't find it. It took about a couple weeks. The guys went out in the field off of Pershing Road, and they found it. And we had, Joe Kennedy worked on a water main break before. It was about 10, 15 years ago over in the, by the railroad tracks. So they were able to come out and fix it. Thank you.
No questions to the motion. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Felix.
Aye.
Newsome.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Donnerworth.
Aye.
Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Motion passed, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item H, can I have a first and a second?
So moved. A second.
Alderman Florian and Alderman Bolton. This is an ordinance authorizing the disposal of surplus Public Works lightning loaders. Does everybody here know what a lightning loader is? I know Alderman Guzman probably knows, right? Okay. Anybody? Does
Can you
everybody
share
else
what
know?
it is?
I think it was talked about in the briefings. Okay.
I forgot.
Any questions to the motion?
Yes. How is this being disposed? Who's it going to, and how? Is there monetary value being recycled? What's
Chris,
the
you wanna talk about
details?
that?
You said something about value?
What's the details on who's going to get it and how are they going to get it? Are they paying us? It's just disposal is a very vague descriptor.
Well, what we did was, we took off some of the necessary parts that's on it that we can continue to use for other loaders that we have. So what's left is pretty much the shell. So what we'll do is we'll take it up to the scrap metal place and get funding for it from up there.
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you.
Okay. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Felix.
Aye.
Newsome.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Donnerworth.
Aye.
Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Motion passed, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item I, can I have a first and a second to it?
So moved.
Alderman
Second.
Newsom, a second. Alderman Turner. This is a resolution authorizing the procurement of Diligent Community Platform and associated software licenses with Diligent Corporation for a not-to-exceed amount of $29,100. What Diligent is it replaces Board Docs. Board Docs will be sunsetting, I think in December, Madam Clerk, is that when it is?
That's correct.
And so this will be the new platform, which will actually be much more expansive than what Board Docs is, but it will be replacing that. I know you've all been filled in on this in your aldermanic briefings. Any questions to the motion?
Just one for Ron. Hey, Ron, is the new, with Diligent, is the interface going to be easier?
Yes.
Or- Yeah, because that,
Alderman, yes.
okay. that's-
Actually, in review, our council mentioned that the other municipalities around us are already using similar technologies that do the things that this one does, and it's going to be easier for you to reference information, video to docket, and yes, I can just say yes.
Cool. Thank
They're
you.
also paying for a free migration because we're staying with the same company.
I-
Yeah. The Diligent bought Board Docs in 2016. Now they're sunsetting it, they're retiring the platform.
Yeah.
We have to go someplace or.
Thank you, sir.
Alderman Turner, to one of the points that you made is, you often have questions about, like, details about things, and sometimes those details are in the resolution, sometimes they're in a memo, and it's not always uniform, and it's actually very difficult. Board Docs is very difficult for the public to access. All the information is on there. Staff is doing their best. This will have one link that says download the meeting packet, and all the documents will be in one file that you can just get on your computer in order, arranged, and someone can just flip through. They could print it out if they wanted to. I don't recommend printing out a 500-page packet, but it will also have bookmarks in it, so you can just click on a link and go to that specific item, get all the information. And I'll note all the credit here does go to the clerk's office because they have this relationship. They've been pushing for this, and they're going to be the ones, along with Ron, who are going to be doing all the integration and making sure that this goes smoothly.
Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Felix.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Donnerworth. Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Alderman Donnerworth.
Aye. Aye.
Motion pass.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item J, can I have a first and a second? Okay, so that was Alderman Martinez, and second was Alderman
Second.
Newsom.
Who was the second?
Second.
It was Alderman Martinez was the first, right?
And who's second?
Alderman Newsom.
Thank you.
Okay, this is a resolution approving the purchase of a 2025 police interceptor, and this is a joint purchasing agreement from Curry Motors at Valpo for an amount not to exceed of $51,762. Any questions to the motion? Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Felix.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Donnerworth.
Aye.
Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Motion pass.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item K, can I have a first and a second for it?
So move.
Alderman Newsom, second.
I'll second.
Alderman Bolton. This is a resolution waiving competitive bidding requirements and approving the purchase of a 2025 Toyota Tundra from Classic Toyota, which is a good faith waiver for amount not to exceed $48,604. And I can't remember what department was doing this. Is this the police? Okay. Chief, do you want to come up and talk about why it's a good faith waiver?
Yeah, so this goes to one of our task force in DEA, and they provided a vehicle for us, and then they sprung it on us kind of last minute that they weren't going to do that anymore for their own internal policies. So we had to then now provide that vehicle, which is what we did years in the past. They never provided a vehicle, but for the last few years, for whatever reason, they changed that, which was a benefit to us. They were providing us with a car, now they're not. So our officer in that position needs a vehicle like really quick because they're pulling the plug on it. So we would have to give them another vehicle, depleting another unit. So we wanted to use money that this task force brings into us, forfeiture fund. So, all the money in this fund that we have came from this task force. So we're just taking the money that we earned from them, putting it back into the task force to purchase this vehicle. When we went out, we have a great relationship with Classic. We've bought our last task force vehicle from Classic. So we went there to them. They've agreed to hold it for us pending approval here. And so we wanted to purchase it for that reason, based on urgency as well. We want to get this car out and into their hands so he can get out and continue the great work he's doing in a timely manner. Or if we went out to bid, and we've done it in the past, it prolongs it for months and months on end. So we can give it to a local business here in town, and we can get our unit up and running that much quicker.
Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Felix.
Thank you.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Turner.
Thank you for that explanation, Deputy Chief. I'm going to vote aye.
Donnerworth.
Aye.
Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton. Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item L, can I have a first and a second for this?
So move.
Alderman Newsom, second.
Second.
Alderman Hayes was the second. This is an ordinance approving the disposal of a surplus fire department vehicle. Any questions to the motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
What vehicle and how is it going to be disposed of?
Fire chief? Oh, okay. Let's see. Okay. This has been all in the packet, right?
2015. It's 2015 Ford Explorer surplus vehicle reached its useful life. It was purchased used in 2018. So the surplus property is no longer necessary or useful for the best interests of the city, and the surplus property should be listed for auction.
Thank you.
So again, we've gone over these before where they're in the packet, and we've also discussed them at aldermanic briefings.
Right, but we don't discuss, we don't provide that information to the public, Mayor. That's why I asked. It's not just for me, it's for them, it's for our people.
Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Felix.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Donnerworth.
Aye.
Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
He stepped
He
out.
stepped out.
Martinez.
Aye.
Motion passed, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item M, can I have a first and a second to this?
So moved.
Alderman Florian, a second.
Second.
Alderman Felix. And this is a resolution approving and authorizing the interfund transfers and allocation from the gaming tax fund to various city projects and purposes. So this is basically allowing you to use your casino money or rep money for the city projects that were, we voted on. I'm happy to
list them if you want.
Yeah.
Mayor, would you like me to reiterate the ones that were voted on last
Sure.
at the committee of the whole? Okay.
So the library was one of them, the HVAC system.
That was voted on at the last meeting.
Yep.
So that's been approved. So just as a reminder, during the revenue allocation plan discussions, as their consensus from committee of the whole, we are formalizing them as you provide them to us with resolutions that direct the city's finance department and the treasurer to transfer funds from the casino gaming fund to designated funds, or just to authorize them for expenditures. So I'll tell you what the four things are that you voted on last time at Committee of the Whole and that we have put into this resolution. An interfund transfer in the amount of $5.5 million to the Risk Management Reserve Fund. This would be the fund that we would be using to address legal settlements. Number two, an allocation in the amount of $1 million for the purpose of procuring Phase 1 engineering services for the Washington Street corridor. Number 3, an allocation in the amount of $900,000 for the purpose of providing an upfront development incentive for the Waukegan Community Development Partners. That's the development agreement that will be brought to you guys at the next meeting. An interfund transfer in the amount of $100,000 to the General Fund Engineering Department for the purpose of procuring general engineering services. So those are the 4 items that the Committee of the Whole was able to agree on at the last meeting, and if approved tonight, those transfers will occur.
Yeah, there's some other stuff that I put in there.
I have a
too,
question.
right? Stu?
So in general, those are the funds were listed. Are you going to list the fund number so I can put it exactly where you want it?
Yes, if you go to the resolution, it includes all that information by fund number and GL account. We consulted with we
Under attack here, so I want to make sure that I do it the way you want to do it, because I don't make any transfers here at all, only within a given fund. At 2 different funds that we move, I only do it under authorization.
I think when you look at the text of the resolution, which we can provide you a copy with, we worked very specifically with Director Schultz and Assistant Director Martinez to make sure that it was very clear where it was coming from, and that we wanted to be very specific about that. So no worries.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, Stuart, I had several items that I had listed as well. That one of those that you mentioned came from Alderman Felix. What about the ones that came from me? Where are they?
Yeah, those had not been voted on at Committee of the Whole, so we're doing this on a rolling
when are we
basis.
going to have a Committee of the Whole meeting where those can be voted on?
Yeah, but
That's why we thought we were having a Committee of the Whole tonight.
we had other things to talk about in executive session. So we will have another one, but Committee of the Whole is actually not a regularly scheduled meeting. We have been doing them regularly scheduled.
Too
But
regular.
we've been doing RAP money for 2 years, so waiting another 3 weeks for another one
I
is
just
not
asked a
gonna,
question. Get all,
not gonna
all
kill us.
snooty.
But that's why those are not as part of this, because they were not yet voted on. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Alderman Felix.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Turner.
So what are we voting on? To move this to regular council? This is regular council.
Yeah. So just for clarification, during the RAP discussion, the motion that was made at Committee of the Whole was to find specific items on the proposals, and we were working from Alderman Felix's discussion that there was consensus on, that everyone agreed on. And there was a motion out of Committee of the Whole to refer these specific 4 items. And then the week before, or 2 weeks before, it was the HVAC. So every time you refer something out, I'm creating a resolution with finance. This is going to be the authorization that actually makes it
And what's
law.
what's the total on those line items?
If someone wants to pull out a calculator, it's 5.5 million, 1 million, 900,000, 100,000. 7.5 million. 7.5 million.
Thank you. All right. My vote is aye.
Your vote,
Aye.
sir?
Aye.
Donnerworth.
Aye.
Florian.
Yes.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Motion passed, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item N, can I have a first and a second?
First.
First, second. I'll
First
make the
was
second.
Alderman Felix, second was who?
Me, Turner. Yes.
Okay, this is an ordinance creating a Class C restaurant liquor license for La Chapuza, I'm not even talking right now, Chapuza, located at 760 North Green Bay Road, which is the old Pepe's. And so this is a new restaurant, but taking over from Pepe's. Any questions to the motion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Felix.
I do want to say congratulations. Well, if it passes through, but also we have our team there. When you guys have your grand opening, we have our team there that can help you with the grand opening. Aye for me.
Can I ask one question? In committee, we had a little issue with whether they needed outdoor dining or not, and that was going to be resolved. Did that all get taken care of?
That did get resolved. Hi, good evening, Sean with the Finance Department. I suggest that we amend. It should be E1 and not just E. their application was updated to an E1 application,
It could include the outdoor dining?
Correct.
Okay, thank you, Sean.
and it would have to go before the DRB as well.
So actually, just to be clear, the ordinance that is in the packet does say E1. And so, yeah, it didn't, what I think happened was with board docs, when you bring something from a previous meeting, you copy it, and it copied the title of this. But the actual ordinance that is attached reflects an E1, the E1 designation. So,
Want to have everybody approve this scribbler's error, right?
yes, do the first and seconds, are they comfortable with this being an E1 license, which will allow them to serve not only indoors, but also in an outdoor seating area?
Is everybody okay with that?
Okay, all right, so you can continue the vote.
Okay. So, roll call, please, Madam Clerk?
So you have to go to another meeting to the DRB as well?
Oh, it was a scribbler's error, so we've already done that.
To approve the actual layout of the outdoor area and make sure that it complies, there's a separate just staff approval through the DRB.
Yeah, that doesn't come before us.
Yeah.
Okay, roll call?
So discussion's done?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to start again. Alderman Felix.
Aye.
Newsom.
Nay.
Turner.
Aye.
Donnerworth.
Aye.
Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
I have to say, good luck, and I look forward to eating Mexican urban food. So my vote is yes.
Motion pass.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item O, can I have a first and a second?
Aye, me first.
Alderman
Motion.
Turner, second.
Second.
Alderman Newsom. This is a resolution approving the minutes of certain closed meetings of the City Council and its committees for release and authorizing the destruction of certain verbatim recordings.
And Mayor, I would like to note, once again, there's a pattern here, and I'll take full accountability for this one, a scrivener's error. There are two instances of the date prior to which the verbatim records can be destroyed under statute. Verbatim records, which is the audio recording of closed meeting minutes, are authorized to be destroyed 18 months after the meeting, so long as the minutes have been approved. The minutes are the actual, under statute, the final record of this. In one part of the resolution, it says August 21st, 2023. In another part, it says November 1st. It should say all verbatim records prior to August 21st, 2023 in both instances, and I apologize for that discrepancy.
So does everybody have that in their, they understand what we're talking about? Because you've got the resolution. Yes,
Well, I was going to let you finish. Are you done?
that's fine.
I'm always a little uncomfortable approving minutes that I was not at the meeting, so can you just explain how we
Yeah.
legally
So this is
do
actually,
that?
This is actually not approving minutes at this time. We periodically approve minutes of closed sessions, and the interesting thing we're not approving the minutes as to form. We're actually approving certain closed session meeting minutes for release. The Illinois Open Meetings Act requires that most of the business that the City Council does, it does in person. It does in front of you, take a vote, and everyone's accountable for it. There are certain exceptions in the Open Meetings Act that the City Council is allowed to discuss in private, and they are very limited and specific examples. And you see that, we did that tonight during Finance and Purchasing to talk about pending litigation. For every one of those exceptions, there's a good reason why, in very limited circumstances, the City Council discusses some business in private. What is required, though, is that we are asked to periodically look through the minutes of those private meetings and determine, can some of this stuff just be released? Has the reason for the privacy passed? And in this case, we've determined that for 5 meeting minutes, May 1st, 2018, October 4th, 2021, January 3rd, 2023, June 20th, 2023, and March 4th, 2023, that the need for those to be confidential has passed, and that those records could be FOIA'd, they could be reviewed, and so that's the whole purpose of this. Thanks for letting me geek out on municipal stuff there for a minute.
Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Felix.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Donowitz.
Aye.
Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Motion pass.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item P, can I have a first and a second to this?
So moved.
Alderman Florian, second.
Second.
Alderman Martinez. This is a resolution authorizing certain city officials and officers to execute approved contracts with the state of Illinois and directing the city clerk to complete and execute a certificate of authority for state contracts. It's a lot of fancy legal jargon, but, you know, you want to explain?
Yeah, this is something that the state has required. Basically, every year, the state does a bid for salt, and a number of communities get together and join the state in bidding out for salt. And what was happening was that communities would tell the state of Illinois, yeah, we'll join your bid. The state would go out and get a price based on the quantities that had been submitted by all these communities, and then the communities would say, you know, maybe we'll get it from our local guy, and it kept screwing up the state's authorization, or they couldn't get the quantities that they needed to get their prices. So the state has now required us to designate who is allowed to actually sign these contracts, and we have to designate a specific person. In this case, it is going to be Director Chris Garland, or whoever is Director of Public Works throughout the year, and Mayor Ann Taylor, or whoever is mayor throughout the year. And that's, so we've made that adjustment.
Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Felix.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Donowitz. Donowitz. Florian.
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Alderman Donowitz.
Aye.
Motion passed, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. There being no ordinances, alderperson time.
Alderman Felix.
Thank you, guys. I have a few things. So I do have a few motions that I want to read through. I want to put a motion for our attorneys to formalize a resolution and add to the next regular council meeting on the April 7th meeting. This is to establish a rotation for our towing companies, and then to in turn also create a RFP for qualified, what we deem qualified contractors for towing.
I'll second that.
Okay, I'm gonna go, keep going. So, and I want to,
So, just to, that is on committee of the whole right now, and can be dealt with. And
I want to add it to the regular council meeting. I don't want it to go to the committee of the whole. I want it
Things
to,
need to be heard. You can't just throw things on there without people understanding and discussion. That's not, if you want to be transparent, which everybody here is trying to be, it's not transparent to just throw things last minute on a council meeting. I think it's best to go through the committee of the whole and let everybody have that fair discussion.
so it will be publicized. It will be discussed. We're actually gonna go over the details with the attorney, and we're gonna have a briefing the week before the council. So, and we can have the discussion there, but it's pretty simple. It's pretty, it's just a rotation, and to establish an RFP for our towing. There's no existing one right now, but we can discuss all that day, and also to to kind of go over comment over what Alderman Turner said regarding the RFP, what do you call it, the casino money. Last time on the committee of the whole, I was trying to continue at least another 30 minutes to make sure to get things passed through, and you guys didn't want to go and get it done. This is how we, I see, I feel like that things are slowed down. It takes months and months to get things done, so that's the reason why. But we can have a discussion and go over the details, and you guys can definitely add your comments, but it'll be available the week before.
Yeah, everybody has to have that discussion, because honestly, even with the RAP money, I first brought this to you, like I said, going on 18 months ago.
18
Now that
months.
everybody's taken their time doing it, it's time to have those, we should have been having these discussions, but nobody was ready for them, and now we want to rush through it. That's why tonight, I thought it was important that we hear something else that was important to our decisions. So there will be another committee of the whole, but we're never going to get through committee of the whole if we keep adding and adding and adding. So we just need to kind of, I know we've talked about we want an attorney to do ordinances. If I'm honest, that is the legislator's job, is to do ordinances and then send them to corporate counsel for review. What's happening is, oh, we want to do this. Stu, do one more thing for us, and we're going to put that burden on the staff as opposed to things that could be done here and then given to the staff for final review. So if you want to do a motion, then make sure you have that motion in order and that we know exactly what it is you're talking about, because when you're talking towing, for instance, there's really only 3 or 4 people that could qualify that have the trucks to do it. And this isn't my experience, this is how many years in the city. But we can look at that and how we rotate them, that's not an issue. But it's just, we've got to be specific how we're going to do that. And I think that's where maybe you can do some writing and have that to the alderman a good week before council.
It's been there since, I think, like a month, since it was first
haven't seen
introduced.
I make a,
It's been on the committee of the whole.
I already
The
seconded it.
packet's there.
you already seconded? Okay.
But
So
I
we
have
a motion
a
and
few other
second.
things, too.
Okay.
Also, to
You've got a motion and a second. You need to, if you're going to vote on
Yeah.
that.
add it to the agenda? To add it to the agenda?
Yeah, so the way things get on the agenda, there's a few different ways. You can have your proposal with 2 co-sponsors, which is done outside of the meeting, and you did that, and it's on committee of the whole. You're trying to put it on the agenda.
It wasn't in committee of the whole. It was either, we didn't do a committee of the whole, I said I want it in the regular agenda, which was this one.
You don't actually get to make that decision, though.
Right,
So-
so that's
so-
the first one, we
But
didn't have that option.
And so what I'm saying is, if you want to put it on the agenda, the body has to put it on the agenda. So you've made a motion, you've got a second, you need a vote on it, and you need 5 votes. And that's the other way that you do
Add
it.
it to the agenda, we need 6 votes,
No, 5.
5 votes.
5 votes. Yes.
Okay.
There's 2 different ways to do it. You're doing it the harder way, but that's fine, and so we just need to vote on it.
So, just to clarify, Stu, just to clarify, I did the 3, I had my support for the 3. You said I don't make that decision, right? Which
You don't get to say where it goes.
Right.
It
So-
goes to, because all aldermanic proposals go to committee of the whole. You're asking to advance it now to the main agenda.
That's not an ordinance where it goes to the committee of the whole. That's not an ordinance. It's not like written over there. It's not it might be a policy, but it's not an ordinance. So you asked for me to get my 3 supporting votes, and I did, and I said let me just finish. It was supposed to either be on the committee of the whole, to have a committee of the whole, or go to the regular council meeting if we can't do a committee of the whole. You guys said, no, we're not going to do it, and we're not going to add it. We're not going to have a committee of the whole, and we're not going to add it to the regular agenda. So that's why I'm doing it this way. It's not that I'm choosing to do the hardest way. The first way, it was, you guys said no, and I didn't get a reason why until today. So I didn't, people didn't say, hey, you know what, we're gonna have a closed session, it's gonna take longer. No, from what I've heard, we're not gonna do it.
Well,
So
if
if I get
you
that
want your
communication-
motion, if you want your motion right here, and you want to advance it to go on the next agenda, you have a motion and a second, and you want to basically take it off of committee of the whole, where it is, and would be discussed at the next one, it requires 5 votes. And so you can have that, and so
Just to
that's-
make sure.
That's the legal
What
procedure.
What I'm motioning is to just add it to the regular council meeting,
Okay.
and I got a second.
Can I, as long as this is, Mayor, can I ask a question?
Yes.
So originally, when I got on the council, the committees were the one time that a resident could come to that podium and ask us a question and expect an answer. Because at city council, we don't allow that, right? They can speak, but we don't give them an answer. So anything that bypasses a committee, in my opinion, is not the best practice. It's not transparent, it's not fair, because a resident that wants to come here and make a comment and expect us to reply to it doesn't get that at city council.
Just to clarify, because what you just said is not true. When I say, you should know this, when I say I want to add it to the regular council, it has to go to a committee, but I don't want it to go to the committee of the whole. I want it to be ready to be in one of their committees and come to the regular council. That's what I'm asking.
So which committee would
That's
you-
not what was said, just so we're clear. You said you wanted it to go right to council. Why are we being asked during Alderman time? Why are we legislating during Alderman time? Why are we
We're
negotiating-
legislators,
or
we
If
have-
I could just finish, we're negotiating ordinances, we're asking to bypass committees. This is our opportunity to just fill people in on what's going on for the last 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe give your 2 cents about something that was voted on tonight. And now all of a sudden, we're being asked to expedite motions. I don't understand. If you're asking us to rush into a decision, I have to believe the feedback's not going to be terribly positive.
That's not what I'm asking.
That's how it feels.
And you guys are, it's my Alderman time, and I'm like letting you guys voice your opinion. We can discuss this in the next council.
You're not using it for Alderman time, though. Put something in writing, submit it to Stu, tell him exactly what you want. Don't just say, I want the towing ordinance on the next meeting. Go through the process, fill out the paperwork.
I did.
That's the most transparent way to do it, because it's all out there for everybody to see, and then we can discuss it at the committee meetings.
Everything
We
you're
are
saying, I'm doing.
wasting time right now going through this.
You're talking. I wanted to go to the next one.
You
I'm ready to go to the
started
next one.
15 minutes ago, and we haven't accomplished
Everyone
anything.
wants to voice their opinion. I was ready to go for the next one.
No, time is not my opinion. Time is a real thing.
I know.
It's easily quantifiable.
That's the 15
I'm
minutes
not
that we're
giving you
doing.
my
You're voicing
opinion.
your opinion.
Can we just proceed with Alderman time, and you can bring up your legislative agenda at another time?
What you think is Alderman time, you just say nothing, you have no comments, that's your thing, okay? I'm going to use it for what I can use it for. I can put that's legislating. You can put a motion and it gets second.
No, we
That's
don't
legislating.
legislate during Alderman time.
That's your opinion. I've done it so that we can do it.
We've noticed, because we've sat here late into the night while you roll out your
Trying
agenda.
to pass things through. The reason for the towing is there's a reason, not just because I'm throwing it out there.
Sure, there's a reason, and I am dying to hear the
You've
the
heard it
details
before in
of
a
that
briefing.
reason.
You
I
have
really
heard it in a
am.
briefing. You've heard it in the briefing. It's been available publicly for almost a month. You know these things, so I don't know why you're. This is a surprise. It's not.
Surprised to have to discuss it during Alderman time.
I got my signatures. I went through the process, so I don't know what to tell you.
So this is placed under 5A, under Committee of the Whole, at the last Committee of the Whole, which was on March 3rd. And what it said, it gave background on who currently has the towing, what their rates are, and then it said the proposal, Alderman Felix proposes changing the city's police towing dispatch procedures to convert the program to a rotating call-out. The city's dispatch would be able to switch to this procedure. Director Perfect has confirmed that. Alderman Felix would also like the city to issue a formal request for bids for towing companies that would like to be included in the city's tow rotation. And so what I think effectively,
fair.
yeah, I think, but effectively what you're asking for is to move this from Committee of the Whole and I guess
Probably go to community development.
Can we do, yeah,
What is community development up for at the next meeting?
yes.
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 Okay, so if you wanted to do a motion to transfer this item from where it is currently in committee of the whole to Community Development Committee, is that a motion?
that- yeah, that's what I'd
you
like to do, yeah.
Okay, and the second, are you open to that change? Okay.
What's the difference if it goes to one committee or another? Trying to speed this up.
Able to go to the full council
That night.
that night.
That's what he wants it to go.
Putting it straight on the council where we have this long discussion when it could be discussed in a committee.
It would go
That-
to
that would be the
committee,
plan, yeah.
and it would go to committee, and then go to the regular council with a negative or positive recommendation, and then we vote on it that night.
I'll approve that.
Yeah.
Presupposes that they'll prepare for the meeting and the committee meeting and read everything in advance.
So one of the things that I will say is I don't care what you do with this, if you want to send it to council that same night. But one of the things that we had kind of talked about is unless it was kind of something that there was a imperative reason to get this voted on that night, is it gave residents 2 weeks to hear about it. So like, for instance, if they do want to submit bids, how do they know about it if it's discussed and finalized that night? They want to hear about it in the community. So that's why we kind of extended giving that extra, so whatever was voted on and say, and I'm just going to use this committee, if it was Public Works or Community Development, it was heard tonight, and then 2 weeks from now is when it would actually be voted on. And that was to give residents a chance to absorb that. Now, there are exceptions if there's a bill that needs to be paid for, like a water main break or something like that. But generally, for things that we're changing in the community, that was the purpose of it. If you want to change it, you may, but that was the purpose of why we waited. Okay? Or
Yes,
have a
council,
problem. I don't have a problem with this, but I will say that when I came onto this council, nothing, absolutely nothing went from a committee straight to council that night. Everything was held over for 2 weeks to give the alderman a chance to digest it, talk to the residents, or talk to staff or anybody else you wanted to. Never went straight to council unless it was something imperative like the mayor said. Never. We're just rushing through stuff, people making decisions. They haven't had a chance to digest it or anything.
Problem is that these processes are taking too long, and all of us have heard comments from our constituents, and we see, people come up here and they're applying for business license, liquor license, et cetera, whatever. It's taking 6 months, 8 months, 20 months, whatever. So what Victor is trying to do is speed up this particular process
understand
here.
that, Alderman Turner, but
So-
what you're not understanding is sometimes there's extenuating circumstances on things that you don't have the background on. But you sit up here and nod with them because you don't know the background. So I think
Because I'm in agreement that we need to cut through the hurdles that you put in place here and get things done more rapidly.
waiting 2 weeks is making a hurdle. I think it just informs the residents, and they have time to digest it. And it's time for you guys to kind of think, is this the best thing to do?
The way I
Thought
see
about
it,
that's why we agreed to it in writing, put it on the agenda, right? So we've got the votes for it. You guys want to discuss it in detail. And it doesn't take a long discussion. It's really a rather simple, this one is very simple, so.
the way I see it is that I agree with Alderman Newsom. It went to committee, held over for 2 weeks, and then it got voted on with a regular negative recommendation. But here's the problem. That's how it used to be, but now certain stuff just goes to regular council right that day, and it's already on the agenda, okay? And that's the problem, that pick and choose. Either do all of them, wait 2 weeks, or you do it this way.
I would suggest you wait the 2 weeks. I mean, on all of them, I'm fine with that.
Didn't you do that Airbnb one the same way with the committee and then
There's a
you
lot
vote
of
the same night?
No.
No?
That was in committee for, yeah.
Why are we rushing through a towing RFP? What's the extenuating circumstance or the emergency?
So maybe not for you, but there's people getting, so we don't have an we don't have an established fee, right? We have a list of what we say, but we don't have an established fee that our towing companies that we don't have no contracts with. We just say, you can do it, you can do it, that's it. We don't have nothing established, and they fight between each other because someone's taking someone's rotation and or the other. This is an actual problem, and it affects the residents and it affects the contractors.
So the problem is people are parking illegally and they're being towed, and we're trying to do
Oh, no,
what about
police
it?
officers pick up, they get in car crashes. I mean, I don't know, probably parking too. I mean, there's a list of items that they get towed for. That's not the issue. The issue is, let's establish this and let's get this taken care of. I mean, there's never been an established towing contract, and that's like one of the things that affects our residents the most. You see car crashes all the time in Waukegan, and it's going to be whoever. We don't know. We don't have a formal contract. They can charge whatever.
Well, I would argue that that's not one of the issues that affects our residents the most, but I would also say that I don't see what the emergency is or the extenuating circumstances to why we're trying to just jam this down everyone's throat. It seems like it's
We have
something
3
that could be
weeks.
negotiated
We have 3
or
weeks
discussed
to the next meeting.
and move through the committee and just go through the normal process.
We have 3 weeks to the next meeting. That's plenty of time.
So, and just to be clear, what Alderman Felix has requested is that there be a discussion and a vote on switching to a rotating call-out, and for staff to prepare an RFP, not to approve an RFP, but to prepare an RFP that would go out, and then there would be a response and to discuss basically what would need to go into that RFP.
Yeah, we can discuss the details.
That's what I had understood.
Isn't that the point of committee of the whole, though? That's the discussion?
It depends. It depends on if it's on the, if it's important.
It depends.
It depends.
So I'm
It
just, I'm
depends
looking
on who.
for
It
a
depends on-
standard here.
I mean, I'm fine with assigning it to another committee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it's been, 15, 20 minutes, so I'm going to just call the question so we can get this vote over with.
Yes, please. Yes. Okay.
I'm sorry,
right,
what
can
are we,
The motion and the second that has been proposed is to move Alderman Felix's proposals from Committee of the Whole regarding the towing rotation and issuing a towing RFP from Committee of the Whole, where it's currently, it would be under old business the next time it comes up, to the next Community Development Committee meeting, which would be on April 7th. And then if it gets a positive response, then it would be voted on that night at the city council meeting unless held over.
Exactly.
Whether it's positive or negative.
Yeah, but it could be, someone could hold it over
Yes.
at committee, but yeah. That's the motion. Mayor, do you want to ask for a roll call?
Roll call, please.
Alderman Felix.
Aye.
Newsom.
aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Donnerworth.
Aye.
Florian.
No.
Hayes.
No.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Motion pass.
Okay.
Thank you.
So was there another one?
There is another one. You can make it quick. Same thing. It's something that's in Committee of the Whole. It's the Public Safety Committee, along with Environmental Safety. I'd like to add that to the Community Development Committee.
But doesn't that have to be written up of what that committee would be doing?
Right.
It's there.
There
Need
is a draft ordinance on that? Okay.
I will second that.
Yeah.
it going to be in committee of the whole? I'm sorry, Alderman Newsom, can you turn your mic on?
1-0 meeting. Yeah. We'll move that up to GO&O then. Okay.
We have a
Yep.
meeting that's coming up.
Yep.
Can we, yeah.
A motion, is there a second?
Yeah, was there a
Sorry,
second?
turn your mic on, please.
Yes, there is a second.
Okay, so a motion and a second to move and this was under old business at the last Committee of the Whole meeting an ordinance amending Section 2-40 of the Waukegan Code of Ordinances to establish a new standing committee of the City Council dedicated to public safety and health. And that's the one that Alderman Turner was a sponsor of. So there is a motion and a second to move that out of Committee of the Whole into the next GO&O meeting, Government Operations and Oversight meeting, on April 7th.
And please take this time to talk to staff, too. Don't just spring things on staff. Talk to staff about these things along the way.
So are we talking about this combining these committees together?
No.
I need
No, 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 no.
clarification.
Yeah, so this was a proposal that Alderman Turner had discussed, and I think there was a relatively positive discussion at Committee of the Whole. We have prepared an ordinance that incorporates, and it's on board docs under the last Committee of the Whole under 4A, and it would create a separate Public Safety and Health Committee that would deal with issues involving the public safety departments of the city, including fire and police, and then also environmental issues, and would transfer certain environmental issues out of the Community Development Committee.
So basically, Alderman Bolton, is what we're saying here is, when things go on Committee of the Whole and the list gets so long, we never get to everything. So all we're doing is placing some under another committee, but you're still going to run into the same thing. If things get too long, you're still not going to get to everything in that committee either. So what it really means is we need to shorten down what we're putting on our agendas. Let's get things passed and then move on to the next thing, rather than cramming 50 things on an agenda time and we're here until midnight and staff who would love to go home is sitting here until, all hours of the night. Let's just focus on fewer things, get those done, and then move on. But this will move these to the Committee of the Whole, or to the Community Development. And then if Community Development goes too long, you won't get to Committee of the Whole then. So there will be other things that won't get done. So is to move it to the Committee of the Whole.
No,
The
development.
GO&O.
To the GO&O, I'm sorry.
Joanna, okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Just like the last one.
Yeah.
So
That's fine.
roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Felix.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Turner.
Aye.
Donnerworth.
Aye.
Florian.
No.
Hayes.
No.
Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez.
Aye.
Motion pass.
Thing I want to say, though, is if these go to GO&O, let's be fair to each other. And, one of the things I hear is certain chair people will not let other aldermen ask questions if they're not on the committee. That's why things have been put in Committee of the Whole, because it mandates everybody to have a voice. So if we're going to do that, let's treat each other with the respect and hear their discussion of what it is that their concerns are, because otherwise it does feel like we're throwing things down people's throats, and that's what your audience is watching, and that's why you're getting criticism from your residents that that's what it looks like to them. So let's be fair and respectful up here and treat each other where you let each other talk, okay?
What's the point in having a committee of the whole if every committee is a committee of the whole? That's why these committees go on and on, because you have 5 people assigned to a committee and you have 8 people talking. You choose who you want on that committee to discuss that category of agenda items. Let them discuss it, and then the others we can watch and maybe occasionally, but as a regularity to have. And what you're doing is you're saying I have 5 people on the committee, but I have 8 people on the committee, and that's why those committee meetings run long.
Aren't we all duly elected to represent our wards, and aren't we all equal? Shouldn't we all have a voice to say in each committee? I know you won't even answer.
No, that's why committees are chosen. You choose specific people to sit on a committee, Lynn. You know this. Come on.
Thank you, Alderman. If I can continue, that would be the last thing. I mean, I have more, but that's it. That's it for today. So there's a lot of other topics, but yeah, there's a reason why I try to put some of these things forward. We tried. Got my signatures. It wasn't done. La Cantina, they were here. You saw the whole group. I would like to say, safe to say that he's reached out and we're working with him, and he's gonna get. We're trying to get him to where he needs to be with the requirements. So if you guys heard that, he had a DUI with the requirements. So if a person cannot hold a DUI, that means we're taking care of that part too as well. So with the requirements, we're getting him to where he needs to be, and he's already reached out. I already worked with Chief Bridges to see how we can help him. That's how I take this. That's how I approach it. They had to fix their permits to be able to operate in there. That was something that was very important for me. They got it done, but they've been having a runaround for the last 4 months or something like that. They reached out to me, and now we're helping them out, and they should be where they need to be hopefully soon. And same thing with, this is what I tell everyone, please reach out to me if you have any questions. I have people reaching out for me from different wards because they feel like they reach out to me. So, I don't mind helping anyone out where they need to be. But I'm here to help out. I'm in a helpful mindset, not you can't do this, can't do that. I'm trying to help people out. So that's with La Cantina. Hopefully we can get them done as soon as possible. As you can see, they have people employed that, take care of their families. I'm happy to say that we are going to have Earth Week in a different location. It's going to be not in the Water Street, which it is nice there, but it's we're kind of going more into the heart of the Fourth Ward, not just on the outside. So they're gonna have the Earth Week on Buttrick in Washington. So I'm happy to say, I'm happy to see if how many people turn out, because it's more in the heart. You have different types of residents going through there. So hopefully we can get a good turnout for the Earth Week. And just making sure I got everything. Oh, I feel like I'm forgetting something. That's it for me. Thank you.
Alderman Newsome.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Earth Week for the Fifth Ward will be Wednesday, April the 23rd, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Dumpster will be at Greenwood in Delaware. If you have any questions regarding what you can dispose and what you cannot dispose of, feel free to give me a call at 847-390-2691. And I would also like to offer my condolences to the family of Mayor Bill Durkin. He was not mayor when I came in as alderman, so I didn't get a chance to work with him. But when I came in as alderman, him and his wife were very nice to me and approached me and was really thankful that I was sitting on the council. So I offer my condolences to his daughters too, Mary Ellen and Joan, works for the city of Waukegan. That's all I have.
Alderman Turner.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I offer my condolences to the Durkin family. I didn't know Mayor Durkin well. He was the mayor when I first came to Waukegan and I first came to council. But what struck me about him was his openness and his engagement. Unimaginably, I just walked into his office and he said, "Hey, sit down," and we had a little short conversation before the council meeting. But he was always open and engaging with me. Like I said, I didn't know him well, but he was one of those guys that I just I felt a connection to him. I don't know how he felt about me. All right. So meanwhile, in the 6th Ward, we got a dumpster drop. Earth Day, the dumpster is going out at. We're going to put this one up at Hickory and Keith also on April 23rd from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. I will post that up on my Facebook page as well. Also note that LRS has begun yard waste pickup. Put your yard waste in the brown bags and put your stickers on, and they will get them on garbage day, your regular garbage day. I'd like to ask residents, not just in the 6th Ward, but around Waukegan, keep your eyes peeled for graffiti as the weather warms. The youngsters and some of the gang members are putting up graffiti, and you can call your alderman, you can call Public Works directly, or you can call me, and I'll push it through as well. But we do want to continue to aggressively address these graffiti issues. And for the bulk items that are being left out on the curb, remember you do get one item per pickup, Chris. One item, one large bulk item, but you should call. I would encourage you to call LRS, give them a couple of days notice so that they'll put that on the route. And then for the illegal dumps, when you see, somebody left some junk in the street or wherever, Public Works is now picking that up on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Right, so it's not every day. And give them a call. And then finally, one of the consistent complaints that I get from around the city is that there are cars that are parked and not moved, sometimes for weeks. And we have the alternate parking, but we know that we don't have the resources to enforce that or monitor alternate parking on every single street every night. So I encourage you in your neighborhood, if you're seeing a car that's not moved, call not 911, but the non-emergency number, or notify your alderman and let them handle it. But this is the way we find a number of stolen vehicles or abandoned vehicles, and we keep our streets clean. So, and that's all I have. Hope you have a great week, folks. Thank you.
Alderman Donnerworth.
Yes, I'd like to express my condolences to the Durkin family also. I knew him as the mayor all the time when I was working for the police department there. Also, we lost one of our retired guys, Jim Mac McCarthy. He's a retired police officer here in Waukegan, and I want to express my condolences to his family and to the other police officers that knew him at the Waukegan Police Department. That's it. Thank you.
Alderman Florian.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'd like to join everyone in offering my sympathy to the Durkin family. I hope it gives their children, Mary Ellen, known as Mel, Joan, and Bill Jr., some comfort knowing that their parents are back together again. They were both very wonderful, engaging people, and it's a loss to not only their family but our city that they're both gone. My ward meeting was a big success. We had a good turnout, a lot of good conversation. Thank you to all the residents that took the time to attend. My dumpster for Earth Week will be Thursday the 24th at Beavier Park. If you have any questions, you can look on the city's website or give me a call. I can answer any questions. I want to remind everyone to vote on April 1st. It's coming up, April 1st. And Lake County now has where you can vote at any voting site. You don't have to vote at your assigned voting site, so it makes it a little easier if you can vote closer to work or something like that. So that's a great benefit to the whole community, I believe, to make it easier to vote. I wanted to clarify, Stu, one of the things that was said when they were discussing the liquor license, he mentioned that he would have just had his wife fill out the application if he had known he couldn't get the license. Isn't that, I don't want to say illegal, but that's not allowed, is it? Because he couldn't work there or be involved in it if he's not legally qualified for a license, correct?
So we would have to look at how a license is set up. Someone who is not qualified to have the license can't be a manager, and they cannot be the license holder. That doesn't mean that someone can't be a relation or can't be an employee, but we would have to look at how a specific license was set up. And I don't want to go into too much detail, although the gentleman did respond. The business that was here tonight with its employees, it's a very complex situation. There was operations without a license. There were sales of liquor without a license. There were issues which I know there's been a number of concerns about that have been raised by Alderman Guzman specifically, and you can work in good faith with someone, but when you're starting from a position of flagrant noncompliance, sometimes that path is a lot longer, and it's not always a straight line.
Thank you. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but when he mentioned that, it just perked my ears up. That's all I have. Thank you.
Alderman Hayes.
My comments tonight surround the inefficiency of our meetings and how long it takes to get through a relatively short and uncomplicated agenda. We have aldermanic briefings. There are alderpersons that do not attend those briefings. We are given all of the information in advance of the meetings. We have an opportunity 3-4 full days to read the information. Based on many of the questions that are asked, it's abundantly clear that people are not reading the information that is provided, that staff goes to great lengths to get to us in advance. I understand, as Alderman Turner pointed out, the need to inform the public, the need for healthy debate, and the need to challenge the reason behind certain things, and I am on board with all of that. I'm not saying things should just fly through with passing colors and everything should be negotiated or discussed behind the scenes, but we spend hours getting through very simple items. When questions could be asked in advance, someone can pick up the phone and call, someone can send an email, but it's obvious that people aren't preparing for their meetings. I'm not crazy about chastising other alderpersons for not preparing, but it's embarrassing, it's obvious, and then it just creates fighting amongst us. And that, too, is also embarrassing. So, it's my experience that staff makes him or herself available at every turn, every opportunity. They pick up the phone, they answer their emails, they'll clarify anything in advance. I would encourage people to leverage that resource in advance of the meetings. I think our meetings would go a lot more smoothly. I think a lot of basic questions could be answered in advance. I also think that trying to force or push items through from committee of the whole straight to agenda, I want to be clear, that was the request tonight. The request was not to have it go to community development and then have it go to city council. The request was to go straight to city council, which is where my objection laid. That is suspect. That is a red flag to me.
We did that with the road.
So I think that if you want to push things straight through, at least have a reason for it. But there's no reasoning being offered. Legislating during alderman time is an abuse of alderman time, frankly. I still think that we should go back to 3 minutes per alderman for alderman time. If that's what we're going to hold the public to, and we are going to stick to that there's no reason why aldermen can't hold to that. You can post on Facebook for as long as you want. You can record your videos. You can have a ward meeting every week. There's lots of other avenues to get your information out. But we don't need to stand up here and flex and legislate and argue during alderman time. It's a waste. I'm also very concerned with the comment about La Cantina. That was one of the aldermen said earlier that there was a DUI, but we're taking care of it. I don't know what that means. I'm optimistic that there's context for that statement, but like so many things that have happened up here recently, that's a bad look. That raises questions, and I'm not sure that we want to go on record as saying we're taking care of the DUI. We're not authorized to do that. We have no power,
You're
no
twisting my words.
authorization
No,
to do anything
that's
of
not
the
what I
sort. So I would caution you to be choose your words wisely, because it could get us all in trouble. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Bolton.
Well, with all that being said, I first want to thank our staff for all your hard work and what you do. And I want to join my peers as well in rendering condolence to all those that have. I've been to numerous of funerals since we've met, our last council. So definitely to the Sims family, the Benjamin family, the Strotter family, the Durkin family, and many more. God bless you. I pray your peace. And on a good note, today we had a groundbreaking in the First Ward by Habitat for Humanity. It was an exciting time to do that. I understand they're also going to be building other Habitat homes in other wards.
And My Earth Week, I'm going to be putting out the dumpster April 21st. And not only am I going to put out the dumpster, but I'm going to be there so you can have questions face to face with me if you have any concerns. Also, Cook Magnet gave a legacy celebration for the youth there. It was an exciting event. They dressed to kill. At the elementary school, they had all kinds of food, and it was an enjoyable event. And of course, we're continuing our lead piping project in the First Ward on Lenox and Martin Luther King, and they're doing a great job. And so that's all I have. Thank you.
Alderman Guzman.
Good evening, all. I want to join in with the rest of my colleagues with Mayor Durkin and Durkin family. I actually knew Mayor Durkin quite a bit. We actually had some talks at the, he would come down to the hot dogs stand every so often, and I knew him throughout the years. I mean, it was just here and there stuff, but I thought we had a connection, and we talked good for it. So I hope he rests in peace, and God bless him and his family. Second, I want to say that I'm also getting, like the mayor said on mayor's comments, that everybody's getting an Earth Week dumpster. Second Ward is for April 21st from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. For the stuff, I also want to mention streets. If everybody's noticed in the second wards, the road construction signs have started popping up, and that construction of the streets, repaving of the streets, and will be starting pretty soon. And again, that's with no borrowing or anything like that. So kudos to the administration on that. Okay, La Cantina, they were here, huge support and stuff like that. And what I find it troubling is, okay, I barely learned about this, I want to say sometime last year. And I called up on it right away when I heard the rumor. But what I found really, really troubling is when the gentleman came up to the podium and said he's been operating for 2 years like this, with no license, no permit. I find that very, very troubling that staff and nobody shut this down immediately. I find it very, very, very troubling. That's why we need to go away from a liquor commissioner to a liquor board, okay? So a board of 3 can handle these kind of situations and know these kinds of process with liquor license instead of 2 years. I find that totally unacceptable, 100% unacceptable. Could you imagine if the ordinance that I'm trying to pass right now and trying to perfect, what would have happened? I mean, first offense would be 3 months, no license. Second offense, what was it? And before you can even operate, 2 years. And then third offense would be a lifetime ban. That would have been gone. And who would have been at fault? Would the business would have been at fault? Or the staff would have been at fault? Because nothing has been done for 2 years. I find this totally, totally unacceptable. And I will be asking questions to find out why and how this happened and how we can move forward. I am very, very upset about this. That's why I will be either looking into asking other aldermen and see what they think about moving from a commission city to a board city for liquor. Committee of the Whole. Okay, it was first and second. 3 signatures were collected, like Alderman Felix said. It was said that a no is with no explanation. And today, I was told, well, talk to the mayor. Okay, that's not a way you talk to an alderman, a city official. But after we went into the closed session and we started discussing everything that was into it, I understood. So this could have been all clarified and easy. Said, you know what, guys? Hey, we're not going to have the committee of the whole because we have this to discuss, and it's probably going to take a very long time. In which it did, in which we kind of rushed a little bit at the end to try to get into the regular council meeting. But just a little bit more communication. And then when I first found out about it, I was really upset. And then when the explanation happened, then I understood it. All right, just like a different incident that happened, and I was very upset, and then I talked to the mayor, and I understood. I was like, okay, yeah, that's reasonable, thank you. Thanks for the explanation. Okay? Mr. Perfect, 911. I didn't get the message or anything, but I will be calling and discussing, see what we could do or where we can go and what happened. Recycle, please, please, please. A lot of people are still getting those blue tickets on their cans. You cannot have them in a garbage bag. It has to be everything inside there. Can't be sorted or anything. It has to just be inside there, or else they don't take your recycling. Okay. My ward meeting, March 22nd. Don't forget, 4 to 6 p.m. in English. 6 to 7 p.m. in Spanish to discuss everything that's going on and what we've been going through. April 1st, don't forget to vote. Very, very important. This is what helps move us along as a city. You want change, here it is. It's not just the city that's up for vote. The school district is up for vote. So if you're interested in that, please go out and vote April 1st. And I think that's about it for me. Have a good night.
Alderman Martinez.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk and also Council. First, I'd like to thank Father Richard Frontes for tonight's evocation. And then also I'd like to briefly talk about the sidewalk, pedestrian sidewalk on Brookside and Evergreen that never had a sidewalk there for over 20, maybe 25 years. It is a common area where the students are coming back and forth. Right now they are walking the streets, but I am happy to report that I have been working with Larissa from the CDBG, so there is some positive movement. It is my goal to work with the powers that be and also get a sidewalk there. So there'll be more information forthcoming. Again, this is on Evergreen and Brookside. And then I also would like to talk about the road program on Leith Avenue. I think it started today, but I didn't see anybody out there, but I understand with the weather being windy. This is between Brookside and Grand Avenue. Again, just to remind everyone, to be curbs, gutter, and sidewalks that will be addressed and repaired. You will have access to the roadway. However, there might be some minor temporary closures. We are looking forward to a speedy conclusion. Hopefully it'll be done by the end of April. Also, if you require special assistance or have any questions, please call me at 847-390-2689. Special assistance mean special parking or anything that that I can do to help you to make this transition comfortable for everyone. I don't know how we're going to do it with the traffic flow, especially when they come out of school. There, a lot of cars like to congregate there on Leith Avenue, so hopefully we can work that out. But in any case, I am glad that the Public Works is involved. The Mayor's Office, thank you for helping with that. Also, I'd also like to thank Resident Engineer William Lunt and Marvin Coleman for the information, the flyers that were given and handed out to each home on Leith Avenue. Earth Day, talking about Earth Day collection, ours will be on Tuesday the 22nd It will be located at the Weissfield or 100 North Lewis Avenue. It is from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. This is the flyers. I will be going out to the different establishments, restaurants, and hit as many houses as I can and pass them out independently. If you have information, or you have any questions about that, you can reach me at 847-390-2689. Please know what to bring and not to bring. So we're excited about that, to get that rolling. Then I also like to talk about some of the establishments that unfortunately closed their doors on the Third Ward. I do like to thank the owners of George's Gyros for over 20 years of service in the Third Ward, and also Chiquito Pero Picoso. These restaurants are no longer in our area, so we wish them well. I like to thank them for their dedication and their commitment. And then I also like to say, with that being said, there's 2 other new businesses that are coming. I do know what they are, but I'm going to try to keep it on a down low. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but there is action being done over there where the old Paragon was at one time, and there's another one and right around the corner from that. But more information will be forthcoming. Potholes, I did declare war on potholes. Thank you, Chris Garland, your crew, to Alonzo. It's not 100% completed, but I do say there has been progress for that, and I thank you for your work, for your help with that. Yesterday, I was able to walk the Third Ward and engage with my constituents. I was able to address their concerns and welcome any feedback that they have. It was rewarding and engaging to see all my constituents. A lot of them were out there. We were talking about the progress and accepting their feedback and how we can move our ward forward. I also like to talk briefly about my ward meeting. It will be conducted at the Brookside campus. It will be done in between the end of May and June. I'm just trying to work out all the kinks, so please know that there will be a ward meeting at the Brookside campus, which is the Old West campus. And then also, another thing that I'm trying to establish, working out the kinks, I do have 14 local businesses in my ward to create a small business committee. We are going to meet in 2 weeks. Again, I'm working out the kinks. It's kind of hard to get these business owners to meet at a certain time at an hour or earlier or in the evening. So I am working on that, and that's one of my major goals that when I was running. That I told them I would complete. So I look forward to that. So again, there'll be more information forthcoming on that. And then I also like to give my condolences to the Durkin family on the loss of the mayor. And I'm going to show my age now. Way back downtown, I remember they used to own Durkin and Durkin suits. And we would go in there as children, and he was always very welcoming, very embracing. My dad also worked for the city of Waukegan for 30 years under Durkin. So it is a tremendous loss, but I do want them to know that the city mourns with them, and therefore they're in my prayers, and I wish them the very best. Okay, and also I'd like to congratulate the Waukegan Bulldogs in their division title that they won. Special thanks goes out to the young man, Carter Newsom, who is the grandson of our very own Alderman Edith Newsom. So that was something that was great to see. Yeah. But and with that being said, I've never seen any event galvanize our citizens of Waukegan. I mean, we really got together and we united as one. We were all cheering for them, so it was great to see something different for a change. So I welcome that, and again, they lost, but in my mind, in the city's mind, they're all winners. And so I commend them. I commend the coach and the staff at the high school there. This is pretty much all I have. If you need to get a hold of me, I can be reached at 847-390-2689. With the warmer weather, please be careful with the students out there. They're walking out there. They're more on the streets stuff, but be very cautious for them. You have to think for them half of the time. And then before I close out, I also want to, I know earlier I had comment, we talked about the boat that we are going to purchase, and I brought up something personal. I had a brother who, we were at a family picnic. It was Father's Day, and unfortunately he perished. He drowned. And it was the darndest thing because they were able to save his friend, but when they went back around to get him, the rescue boat ran out of gas. So when I make my decisions out there, I use common sense, and I also use the what-if question. And this is an example of what if. What if there was somebody out there and we wouldn't be able to save them because we would have that rubber raft. So with that being said, I just want to say that, you know, we have to get that boat. We have to do a better job, and I think that something like this shouldn't have to wait this long. We should have maybe pulled it out.
Hernandez.
But in
One.
any case, what's that?
No.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Well, in any case, I just want to share that. It was personal, you know, that he was 30 years old. He had 3 kids. Needless to say, we never celebrated Father's Day ever again, but I just wanted to throw that out there. So that's all I got. For my constituents, I ask you to be safe, be mindful, and let's all be good neighbors. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
I've got something to say. I know there's been concern about this liquor license and that, they've been in here for citations because they've been functioning as a nightclub, which is not something that we allow. So that's why things, and a matter of fact, aldermen have complained about it and would not stand up and testify for it. So that's why it's taken longer to get them through the system, but we go through meticulously, so they can come and work it out, but they do need to go through the process, and that's what we're making them do. So the process is that you can't just function the way you want and then hope the city's going to adjust because you want to do things your way. You can go through the process, and we'll help you through that. But that's what the problem is. It hasn't been that it's just been 2 years and boom. No, there's a long story behind that. And a lot of times when people come up here, you only see one side of things. So just keep that in mind. I will also say congratulations to your grandson. It was an awesome game. And the good news is, when we played Warren, 5 of those players were also Waukegan residents. So we have to recognize that, too. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have to do a roll call, don't we? Okay, roll call,
And the first
please.
and the second, ma'am?
The first was Alderman Florian, second was Alderman Guzman.
All right, Alderman Felix.
Aye.
Newsome.
Aye.
Turner.
No.
Donnerworth.
Aye.
Florian.
Aye.
Hayes. Bolton.
Aye.
Guzman.
Aye.
Martinez. Motion passed.